Hey, this is Howard Phillips, and you're listening to Video Game Bullshit.
This is Tim Kitra from NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, and Mutant Football League saying you're watching Video Game Bullshit. Kaboom!
Welcome to episode 143 of Video Game Bullshit. Nice. This is a crazy episode, and I know, Tristan, that we had planned to do this live in Phoenix. However, I think it was a crazy weekend for us. So
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we had so many late nights. It just wasn't feasible doing this episode back in Phoenix during Game On Expo. So,
well, and even when we were
in the works,
even when we were looking at, we're like, oh yeah, we'll just rack and stack the games, and then we realized, oh, announced and published, there's 37 titles for premium. Because it's announced too, like it's to build the hype and see where like all the PE releases stack and will stack across the zeitgeist of the internet.
That's right.
Yeah. It's funny though, some of our team members were like, oh, you're gonna rack them? Like it's like, what if you put a game as a D or something? It's like, we're gonna be fair and impartial, like, but we don't really publish a D game or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Every game that we've released has its merits, and we're just gonna talk about it.
Well, and just because we love it, we rank it somewhere, doesn't mean it's gonna sell great, or doesn't mean that it's gonna sell bad. So and that's the other piece there is that, like our games stand on their own merits, but they also all have different aspects that make them good and other aspects that could be better. So
yeah, and you and I, Jeff, we're just two gamers in this big mixing pot, and like we have our own like tastes and whatever. It's not like we're representing the entirety of the gaming world. So like I hate RTSs, and apparently that's like the most popular genre like ever. I mean, look at StarCraft and whatever. I would never touch those games. I hate them.
Not a fan of strategy games, not a fan of tactical games, not a fan of visual novels. And I mean, over the years, I've moved away from genres I used to love. So that's ebbs and flows, right? Ebbs and flows.
So yeah, this is our tier ranking. This is Jeff and Tristan's tier ranking.
Exactly. But before we get into the tier ranking, what have you been up to, Tristan?
I got sick last weekend, and it's kind of I'm a little raspy still, but it's two parts why I'm raspy. It's not only this cold that I'm getting over, but also this was the craziest baseball road trip that I've ever seen the Giants. These last 6 games have been insane. Like the games that they should have won, they didn't win, and the games that they shouldn't have won, they did win. I mean, like they came from behind and won 4 games in a row in like crazy fashion, to the point where I'm like yelling at my TV and losing my voice and just going crazy. So yeah, like it's been just like constant, heart rate raised watching these baseball games. I get passionate about baseball, you know me.
Sports ball master.
Yeah, sports ball master. But yeah, it's just been insane. So like between baseball and getting over the cold, and then like testing games, working on that stuff, and working on my new book, which I have not announced what it is yet, but I've been keeping busy, and I've been leaving you alone because I know you're even busier than I am.
Dude, this has been a crazy week. As we talked about, I'm moving from Hawaii to Texas, to El Paso, Texas. I have moved about 8 to 9 times over the last 20 years.
That's insane, dude.
And I've never had an experience like this before, which is interesting. So they schedule you for about a 5 business day pack up and move for your household goods. Our first day was the 22nd. As you can see, nothing's been packed, and tomorrow's the 28th, which is the last business day. Nothing's been packed in my house.
It's ridiculous.
So what we've been told is that a lot of people on the team for the contract that we were given have quit. and so they are behind multiple days. Fortunately, I guess I put up a stink, or at least I just wanted an answer, because we were sitting here Saturday after nothing happening and no promises kept, with no answers. So I went through the military service provider, and I actually got the owner of the contract company to call me. He's an old veteran. And he called me, and then he gave me all the details, and I have his cell phone number and stuff now. So at least he knows that I'm going to the Sergeant Major Academy, and I'm not like just somebody who's like, it's their first term in the Army and I'm just moving for the first time. Because the guys that came here the first day to drop off some boxes and never show up again said that I wasn't a priority. And I'm like, because I'm not a senior. And I'm like, I know who else you're packing up that you're considering a senior, and I work with them. I'm like, it's okay. Like, you do you. Now the owner said there should be nowhere in that, like, rank is agnostic. It doesn't matter what your rank is. It matters when you're scheduled.
Supposed to, but we know how that works.
And it matters when you're scheduled and when your pickup is. So the fact that our pickup is tomorrow. Now here is where my wife and I are nervous, which is fun. I've moved 8-9 times. It takes 2 days to pack up a house effectively and 1 day to move it out. They got one. They got 1 day.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening without it being damaged, whatever. Like, so, and the other piece is, I've done this enough to where I know how you properly document your high value items, how you properly document your military gear, all that stuff. And if that's not done correctly, if I don't see them seal up the crates outside, not going to happen.
Yeah.
And to further complicate things, guess what? The 29th, the day after, which they're going to go bleed into the 29th. They've already asked. And we had our cleaner schedule, which is going to charge us a fee for shifting them so they work late after hours. But guess what's on the 29th, Tristan?
What is on the 29th?
When I'm filming the TV show.
Oh, yeah, you're an extra. I forgot about that.
And the best part is I went for the fitting last week on like the first day. I'm not a Navy officer. I'm going to be like a Navy Joe wearing the Donald Duck suit. Amazing.
Yes.
The other piece is that everybody else that's cast with me are young Joes, and then I'm the crusty old dude, and I have the least amount of rank with one ribbon. And I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Oh, that's funny, man.
They all were like, man, that's messed up. You're doing that to the first sergeant. And I'm like, hey, this is a bit part. I don't care. I'm going to get to be on a TV show.
Yep.
And then I found out what show it is. It's essentially Baywatch in Hawaii.
Interesting.
It's called Rescue High Surf. That's the show. And there's a YouTube trailer and everything. So anybody who's interested, they can look at the YouTube trailer. It looks like Baywatch in Hawaii. But apparently we're part of a 21 gun salute, and it's a Navy base, so they're doing Navy 21 gun salute. And I'll be wearing the Donald Ducks with a white belt. And I think they're gonna show me in passing or something. I'm gonna probably be filming all day for a 2-second blip it.
Cool. Something else to add to your IMDb.
Hey, whatever. One building a day. Do it little by little.
That's right.
It'd be funny as hell, though. But yeah, of course, though, they'll be packing up my house still on that day I'm filming, and I got to make sure Andrew's tracking, like, we don't sign the tapes that go across our like boxes. They're gonna crate everything up. They have to be sealed, and if those seals are broken when we receive, we can actually do a claim, because if anything's broken, anything's stolen, like, we claim everything. And we've already went around and taken pictures of everything. So this is going to be a fun move.
It's a pain in the butt, dude. And
Telling.
yeah, like the last time I had the military move me is whenever, I retired. When you get out, they'll move you one more time wherever you want to go. I think within CONUS or whatever. I don't remember what the rules are.
It's within your home of record address.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to go like from here to Italy, they're not going to let you go to Italy. But if you want to go from here anywhere to Nebraska or somewhere in between, you're good.
Yeah. So they moved me essentially from Dallas to Omaha, and I didn't trust them to, because I'd never actually gone through that process with the military moving me. I did a Diddy move before. whenever I moved from Nebraska down to Dallas. But this time I let them do it, but I didn't trust them with my game collection. So I packed that all up myself. I moved it all myself, and they moved everything else.
I mean, I've moved, 8, 9 times, and what did I do from Georgia? My whole game collection went into personal storage, and I'm paying personal storage because I don't trust it.
Yeah, no. I don't trust military movers. I mean, nothing against them. Like, mileage may vary for different people. I've heard horror stories about people getting stuff back stuff lost that they'll never get back, that can't be replaced.
You say nothing against them, but in reality, they're doing a contract to the lowest bidder.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I have no reason to believe that they'll, take care of my stuff. Although, I mean, to be fair, my experience was good. It was good overall.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, the fact that I'm actually texting the owner means I'm not going to have to put up with any bullshit, because if they come here,
that's awesome. Like that automatically tells you that the buck stops with him.
Yeah.
So that, him giving you his personal phone number. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm going to sit here, and if something goes crazy, I'll text him and he'll fix it. Like, it'll be easy. Like, it'll be like, so if there is any shenanigans, there won't be. The final thing that I have going on, which was interesting, and this was like, I would say this was the weekend and before the move started. Have you ever played the game Pal World?
No, but I know of it. I mean, it was pretty viral in the last couple months.
Pokemon with guns.
With guns, yeah.
That's what it started as. So it's very interesting. I have it from Xbox Game Pass. I was playing it on the Lenovo Legion Go, so it's like Windows Game Pass. The interesting piece is, though, it's not necessarily that I wanted to play it. I wanted to play it with modifiers, so I can like be a cheating asshole on it.
Yeah, of course.
To have fun.
Just have fun. Yeah.
Just have fun. And so essentially, like, I was running around, and essentially what I would call it is 3D Pokemon with Minecraft. So you build like giant bases. So I went around, and because I put a modifier so I can't die, and like my Pokemon don't die, or whatever they're called, the pals don't die. Yeah. I went and hunted around, and I found a giant peninsula, because when you put down a pal box, it does a shape of your base. And that's what you build into to build your base. So I found a giant peninsula over the ground that does the exact size of the base. And I'm building a giant castle.
Nice.
And I'm just having fun building a castle. After I get that whole base made and everything, I'll likely just turn off all the modifiers and then start at the beginning and go through and have some pals and play the game. And very interesting. The bosses are a little grindy, because there's like, you go to a tower and there's like an anime boss, and you can ride some of your pals. You can like use them as a drift. The other piece is the character controls is like Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can attack just like Link as well. So your character can attack, and then you got your Pokemon too that like are part of your party, almost like an RPG party.
Yeah, gotcha. They work autonomously. Is that the word?
Yes. Now the part that I don't really like, which is the part that a lot of people do like, which goes to your strategic talk, is after you build your base, you build a bunch of stuff that your pals work on. So you can build mining and crafting and all the craft stuff, and that whole aspect I'm not necessarily interested in. But I have a feeling it's going to take my daughter watching the right videos, and she's going to want to play it. And so I'm literally building this whole fortress, and I'm going to give it to her, and she's going to have fun. She's going to have fun with it. So that's kind of what I'm banking on, is that she's going to get an interest in it, because she's been obsessed with Pokemon right out. So she has been playing Pokemon Shield. And then over the week, she wanted me to buy her Pokemon Violet so she could play the new one, Pokemon Violet. All the glitches are gone, by the way. So now she's riding around in her Pokemon motorcycle. There's no pop-in, no craziness like they had when the game was first released. And she's been enjoying it. But starting over, she's used to having higher level Pokemon. So she's now like not wanting to grind. Yeah. And so, but she's been quiet going in her room, which is actually our guest bedroom, because her bedroom has been gutted because we have it ready for move. But she's been in there playing Pokemon for the last like week. And
That's awesome.
Freaking crazy, man. Dude, it's been a week though, man. Did you get anything cool in the mail?
I did. Well, just a couple things. Like I haven't really been ordering a lot of games lately, but I was looking forward to getting this one, and it came in a few days ago. Slave Zero X. If
Oh,
you can
nice.
see beyond the glare there. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really cool looking game.
What type
2D,
of game?
2D action, like Metroidvania style.
Oh, nice.
So it says Slave Zero X is a stylish 2.5D character action game set in the biopunk world of Slave Zero. So
Interesting.
yeah, I think I don't know, like a stylish Ninja Gaiden kind of thing.
Is that like on Amazon or?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. I think that's where I had ordered it from.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a cool looking game. And then my other pickup, which is not a game, but every single time like Fallout has had a thing, Jones Soda has had like a little partnership with
You got your Nuka Cola. You didn't show it
so I
last
got
week.
yeah, exactly. So this is my Nuka Victory Cola.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Gonna
I mentioned
drink
it last week, but I already tried one. It's pretty good. It's peach mango.
Peach mango.
Peach mango. Delicious.
Peach mango. So interestingly,
I got this stupid book. Ugh.
That's good. That book's badass. What book is that, Tristan? For those that are listening,
that is Twisted Realities Black Box Challenge by Jeffrey Wittenhagen.
Me. Yeah, that's my tribute to the old Worlds of Power books from Nintendo back in the day, but covering the homebrew game Black Box Challenge.
Yeah.
And it took me years to make that sucker. It's like 300 pages. That book is insane.
Awesome illustrations and everything. I'm trying to work with the artist to see if they'll do illustrations for my next book.
Yeah, it's a Mickey Ivy. She is an old Disney Imagineer. Worked on like some park rides, like for Nightmare Before Christmas and stuff.
So cool.
Really cool. Yeah, and I think her sister worked on Ninja Turtles, the Ninja Turtles movie or something. Insane.
Neat.
Like, yeah, but she did some amazing pencil work for that book. Because the Worlds of Power didn't necessarily have pencil work like that, but the old Choose Your Own Adventure books did. So
Let me see if I can find a good example.
It's a straightforward story that I wrote. I didn't write a Choose Your Own Adventure, jump all over the place story because the Worlds of Power were a narrative, but I wanted the pictures like that. So it's kind of like it's a mishmash of 80s style books and novels.
We'll show our friend Nerdy Nick here.
Nick. So she drew like Nerdy Nick, which is Circus Strongman is a boss in Black Box Challenge when you go through Big Top area. Cool. This is a badass book. Turned out great. Ended up being 300
to read it.
300 freaking pages. So my first pickup, which is an interesting one, was a from a Kickstarter, and I was a backer for it. And it was a certain game that we're playing for bullshit homework, Tristan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you got one of those? You bastard.
Yeah. And I have the Japanese version that I've been playing.
That's awesome. Dude.
So this is from Limited Run, apparently.
That thing is selling for a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm not opening it, obviously, because I could already play the game. I already have the cartridge. Yep. But yeah, this popped in the mail, and I'm like, what the hell?
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I was an early backer.
Well, yeah, because so like the Sea of Stars backers, like everyone else was getting their copies before the actual backers of the game were getting their copies, and the limited editions were better than anything that the backers ever got. So to make good on that, they worked with Limited Run and actually put out this edition to give to the backers who backed the game, and it's a rare thing.
That is apparently me. Yeah, I didn't even realize that I had backed that edition. I was like, oh.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Cool.
They threw it in as basically an extra, like a make good, which is awesome of them.
This is the other thing I got in the mail.
Nice.
The game book Color, which is a really fun by Ninty Media. They're the ones that did the Switch Player magazine.
Okay.
And apparently I got number 6 for the limited collector edition. What I don't like is that they still went with this. There's like this little slip thing. That is the only thing that That's the only thing that has the actual logo for the
Oh, interesting.
book. So when you take this off, it's literally just art.
Oh,
It's fun.
weird.
But outside of that, and they did that for the first one too. But this book is amazing. It's really thick. It's good quality. I like what Paul does. It's good stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, I
and
would
I
have
gotta-
guessed that was bitmap, but yeah, very nice quality.
Oh yeah, Nintendo's good. I did get a few games in for Switch. I picked up Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door.
Nice. I need to get that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to play that while I'm traveling a little bit, maybe. But Sea of Stars is a priority. I found this at GameStop. I thought it was rare as I've never seen it, but it's not apparently, according to everything. Ultra Street Fighter 2 Turbo or whatever it is. I've never had it. It's just year one released for Switch. The ultimate version of Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
And the final thing that came in the mail, Donut Dodo.
Hey, cool.
Which is really cool. I got the Pix and Love version. I also got Castle Crashers, which you recommended.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I got that in. The other thing that I have, which is a cool thing, is over my shoulder. And this is Strife Sisters for the TurboGrafx 16. This is a role-playing game. And it is a Hue card. And
I love that people are still making stuff for the PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16. It's awesome.
It is wild. I know last week we had talked about, like, I got to let you know when I get this stuff in. I ordered this a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, no, it's all
I have
good,
no idea where this was from. It does say Guinea Pig Games, so I'd assume that Guinea Pig Games has a website. But yeah, I tend to find shit on like Facebook and somebody posts it and I just go it. And if it's cool, I buy it and don't think anything of it. Usually I'm drinking.
I did order that 3 months ago. Weird.
I almost did that yesterday night while we were drinking rum. Somebody posted there is a new Nintendo homebrew magazine. And it's on dragonbox.de, but it wouldn't work with my PayPal thing. I would have bought it. And I looked, I'm like, what the hell is this? I was like, what is it's in my open thing? It is called Brew Otaku. And it's a homebrew NES, or actually not NES, just all homebrew stuff magazine.
That's awesome.
Printed over in Europe, I guess.
That's really cool.
But I didn't buy it because I couldn't get my payment to work.
Bummer.
Yeah, that's the German site. I don't know. You can pay with your Amazon account, but I don't have a German Amazon account. So I don't know. Crazy stuff.
So selfishly, I wanted to take up just a little bit of time in our podcast to give an update of my book and where it stands.
You should.
My video game collector's field guide.
Cool.
I've had a couple of backers reach out to me recently and wanting an update, and we haven't really heard anything solid from the printer except that it's still in production.
What that means?
Yeah, it's in printing, but like we're supposed to get an advanced proof copy at some point.
What they do is they're going to go through and do color correction and mass produce and the digital files into a position to get ready for print. Because somebody decided to do thousands of pages, this is taking them longer than ever. Somebody did that.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
So it's
I know this is a lot bigger than anything we've ever had them print. So
the most I've ever done before this was one 600-page book, and now I got 4 of them essentially. So it's taking a while, and then they're going to be doing this different material wooden slipcase. So typically they're going to give us printer proofs and things, and I haven't gotten those yet, and then those will be in print. So it's not in shipping yet. But it is being worked on. They like the printer is doing it. I could just assume that it's going to take a little bit of time.
I know, yeah, and you know what? That's on me for not having the foresight of thinking. Like I was basing it on like everything else that we've done. This isn't like anything else we've done. So I really should have known that it would have taken a few more months. And, for that, I apologize to the backers for giving unrealistic expectations. That's on me. But just know that you're going to get a crazy. I mean, this has never been done before. Never been done before. Doesn't exist anywhere else. And you guys are going to be the first ones to get it. So I
Well,
hope you're
and
happy about that. And I did say in one of my previous updates that if it did take much longer, I was going to release the PDFs and make those available to the backers who did back that. Even if we don't have any sort of like timeline when we're going to get those proofs and when those are going to get shipped to us, for me to ship them to you, I will be releasing those PDFs and making those available, sending out that email within the next couple weeks.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because honestly, like delays will happen. And the thing is, though, is that we are like right along we're on target for sure.
Yeah.
But because I mean, you were still working on and finishing up and back and forth and making sure
Yeah,
everything was perfect.
it took me a couple more months than I thought it would to actually finish the book. But I mean that means that the quality is going to be like beyond anything that I could have imagined it being.
You just want to make sure it was right.
Yeah,
And
there was a lot of proofing to be done, and I just underestimated.
it's insane.
Yeah, over 2,400 pages. You know, I got to make sure everything's right. There's like over 24,000 games. I mean, images of games
Psycho.
in that. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Psycho. Love it.
hmm
So,
But yeah, that's where we stand right now. And of course, if we ever get any like more concrete information, if we get those proofs, I will that day share it with backers.
yep.
Yeah.
So that's your project, and then of
Yeah.
course we have the Metroidvania Chronicles. Phase 1 is on a freighter; it's shipping. So, what happens is, and this will happen for yours too, is we get like it's almost blacked out once it's on the freighter, and we won't get an update until it gets to customs or clears customs to get an actual like tracking number that we can get an estimated ETA. And because with yours, we're split shipping, which means you're going to get some and the warehouse is going to get some. It's going to be different than the Metroidvania, which is all going to the warehouse. That one, I do already have the advanced copy. I got in the slipcase as well. I've posted pictures of all that, all the different pieces. The slipcase has shiny on it, which is awesome, like shiny
Looks beautiful.
foil. And it is ridiculous. Phase 2, I launched the Kickstarter last week.
Yeah, you've already hit your goal. I saw that.
Kickstarter hit the goal. There's still people getting backers. People should see it. I am promoting it on Facebook and Instagram, a little bit Twitter and all that stuff. So people should see it on those, as well as there's an opportunity to get phase 1 in that Kickstarter, as well as there's a backer gift for phase 1. But phase 2 has the same opportunities. The one thing I did change this time is that the contributor tier is not its own tier. It's just an add-on. So you just add it on afterward. You can buy, I want to contribute a story. And so you just do that. You add a story to it. And people are asking, like, does it have to be a Metroidvania story? Yeah, it should be a Metroidvania story for the Metroidvania Chronicles.
Topical. Yeah.
Should be topical. And then just because I'm insane and psycho, while I was waiting for my household goods, I started getting together volume 3. And so
You're an animal.
I've resourced and got all the games lined up that I'm going to review in volume 3. And I have everything ready to start the layout work next. I already have all the imagery taken and ready. And then I'm going to format out phase 3 of Metroidvania. Awesome, and I already so I got the game list to the artist, and they're going to start working on the art for Metroidvania number 3.
I'm excited, man. I want to see those. Like I saw your proof, you showed me the proof copy and it looks amazing, but there's if there's one thing that I've noticed is like, seeing it on a computer screen and on someone else like showing it to you it doesn't ever do it justice. It looks 10 times better than it does on the computer screen, which if that's the case, holy crap.
Dude, this series is like, next level. And I'm still looking to see, because Kickstarter was almost going to not approve it, looking to go to like a Patreon system or something for it, because it will
Yeah.
be a reoccurring series and I can sit there.
Maybe do like hand-drawn game guides did or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Mhm.
Exactly. Or a Switch Player magazine. Like
Yeah.
it's just the Metroidvania bookazine and do hardcovers.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I want to be able to do it like reoccurring. I want to do like 3 a year, not like 2 a year. Because right now with
Sure.
Kickstarter, it might allow us to do 2 a year, but it also kills every other project. And my complete Genesis book, I'm almost done with.
Mhm.
Like I'm working on the last few homebrew reviews. And then the Switch Collector year 3, I went through again like a madman and formatted, because I reformatted everything. I finished all the reformatting this last week. And so now all I have to do is I'm writing taglines on all the physical games. I think I have about 200 pages left to do that with, and I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done with that book too. So I have 2 other giant 500-page books that are going to be done on top of it.
Well, yeah,
So
needing to be put on Kickstarter. So, like, yeah, if you're putting your Metroidvania Chronicles on Kickstarter, then that takes away from what else you could put on Kickstarter. So, I totally
exactly.
understand why you want to go a different route with that.
Well, it's just giving people the opportunity versus just going to like my store or something and doing a pre-order, because that's the other option.
Yeah.
I've been mulling over it right now. So anybody that's listening, we're on Spotify. You can leave a voice message. You can leave a comment. Let us know like what you would, if Patreon is something that's fine with y'all, if you've had good experiences, bad experiences, let us know, because I'm thinking about it. Just a way to maximize being able to do throughput. Craziness.
Yeah, because
But
Kickstarter doesn't do a very good job if you need to scale your work. They don't allow you to have any more than one campaign going on at a time.
yeah, like
Which is
they're
unfortunate. So
because their response was, you haven't shipped out your previous one. And I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting for a freighter and I'm trying to launch the next one so we can get it funded and put the next one, get the production done, and then get that on the freighter. And they're like, oh, okay, good. You're good to launch, is what they said after.
yeah, and
And I'm like,
I understand why they do that. It's to prevent abuse and like people from collecting a whole bunch of money from people and never delivering.
yeah,
But if you have a track record, then it shouldn't impede you. But it
yeah.
still does, because that's just their policy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's that one of those things where eventually you got to scale over to your own website pre-orders or something. So I don't know. I have been coming up with a couple of options. We shall see. I mean, it is what it is right now. Yeah, those are the projects though. Should we go into news, or should we start scaling this crazy ass topic?
Let's knock out some news real quick. I'm not going to take
I
too
got a
much time.
couple.
There is a couple, yeah,
I
things
got a
to talk
couple.
about. So where is it?
The first one that I have, which I assume you have, is that Atari acquired Intellivision.
Yes, they did.
I see it in the
Atari
top.
buys Intellivision.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
And
that's historic.
so, our buddy Smash JT, he released a video, of course, and said, well, the Amico is essentially dead.
Yeah.
Now, what it does say in their statement that they put out is that, what is it? Intellivision Holdings LLC will rebrand and take on the Amico projects separately from this merger. This merger is simply to be able to allow them to put out games.
Exactly.
So
yeah, so it doesn't involve the Amico. The Amico is still vaporware somewhere. Who knows?
I mean, our Smash JT, he had a vested interest because he put 10 grand into it. I did not. I didn't even buy the games. I didn't even buy the games.
Me neither. I was tempted as a game collector, and I was even tempted to put them in my video game collector's field guide, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, well, because the thing is that it's a very interesting perspective. It's an interesting history blip it. However, after the Coleco Chameleon and the predecessor, the Retro VGS, which I don't know if you know my history with that. Like, I will not mess with.
No, I don't think we've talked about that.
So if you Google the Retro VGS, one of the launch games is Jeffrey Winnigan's Black Box Challenge.
No.
And my very first Kickstarter, one of the tiers was to get a Retro VGS physical copy of Black Box Challenge.
Holy crap, that's insane.
Because Mike Kennedy talked to Mike Kennedy on the phone, said, "Oh, it'd be super easy to do ports, no problem. We'll handle
I
all the
had
physical
no
publishing."
idea. Yeah, because the Retro VGS / Coleco Chameleon was supposed to be like where people could go to take their indie games and have an indie game platform, and that was its whole appeal. But yeah,
he said NES to it is a drag and drop, super easy. I was like, okay, cool, like count us in. And as soon as they went to Coleco Chameleon, I'm like, no, I'm out. And then we I either reimbursed or offered a free the highest tier of the NES version of Black Box Challenge to those that backed the VGS.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
hilarious.
I didn't have a ton of backers for the Retro VGS version, but yeah.
Still, I mean, holy crap. It was your game was supposed to be on the Retro VGS. How many people can say that?
Yeah. And it had my stupid face on it with the drinking a beer on the big end. Yeah. I love it. And you noticed in that book that you showed, Mickey Ivey did a new cover for Black Box Challenge.
It's not the same as the game.
But the original art from Joe Simcoe is on the inside. But I wanted her to do it because yeah, it's the pencil version is. Yeah. But
sometime.
But yeah, what I wanted, it's just the very inside first cover. Yeah, but what I wanted to do is draw something based on the narrative of the story because I wrote a whole story in the book. But yeah, like Black Box Challenge has a notorious history with that shit. So after that, like I don't do the vaporware until I can physically purchase it.
So and it's so funny, like it all comes down to Black Box Challenge. That is the catalyst for a lot of things, including you and I starting to talk. Because that's why I initially reached out to you. I wanted just to get a copy of Black Box Challenge. And then we started chatting about book publishing. And, at this point I had done my self-publishing of my first edition of my console field guide, which, is not economically viable. And printing in the United States, you're just not going to make any sort of money.
Nope.
So that's where old Jeffy took me under his wing.
All back to Black Box Challenge and the Coleco Chameleon. And now that's connected to the Amico. No. No, but yeah, that was one of those things though, is like when that happened, when the thing went and transformed, I pulled out and reimbursed anybody who backed it.
Well, that was very forward thinking of you because you made the right choice.
Yeah. That was insane, dude. Like it was crazy. But yeah. Well, what else is in the news, Tristan?
So, but besides Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door coming out in the last few days, the other big thing that I think is notable to talk about, and maybe not really divulge too much or dive too much into, but it's the fact that NCAA football is returning now. EA is coming out with a new NCAA football game, 25, and now all the student athletes are going to be paid according to where their team ranks in this whole like grand system. I think there's like 5 tiers, and then wherever your school ranks is how much each player gets paid.
Wow. And who decides that?
I think it's like it's all based on metrics like your win-loss and your ranking in the BCS or whatever the crap they call it anymore. But it's all broken down in like mathematical. So it's not like a judgment thing. It's actually going on statistics.
This is just tied to the game, or are there more merchandise opportunities?
Oh, I'm sure there's more. But yeah, that was the entire reason that NCAA football went away in the first place, is because the student athletes weren't getting paid for their likenesses. EA was making money hand over fist, and the actual student athletes who were putting their health on the line and their careers on the line and going out there every day and working their tails off weren't seeing a penny of that.
That's crazy.
Which is wrong. And big old licensing, like all this red tape and stuff. So like NCAA football went away around like what 2008, 2009, and hasn't been back since. So yeah, this is a pretty historic thing. It's going to be huge.
I'm glad they're taking care of people, and to add that merchandising opportunity means people are going to be going even harder to get paid because you get paid more.
Yeah,
like that's a big deal.
Good for them. I mean, yeah, it's always been a crime, I think, that the NCAA has classified these student athletes as amateurs and students first in order to like suppress them from calling themselves professionals and getting paid as professionals, even though the colleges are making so much money off of them.
Yeah, millions.
It sucks, but things are changing, and this is just one of the things that has resulted from that.
Freaking craziness, man.
EA is bringing out another NCAA football game. Am I going to buy it? No, I'm not into NCAA football, but it is noteworthy in the video game realm.
Zeitgeist.
Yes.
Video game zeitgeist, Tristan.
Do you have anything else as far as news?
The only other one that's topical is that apparently the MiG switch has been starting to get shipped out. The interesting piece is that a lot of the distributors didn't get the dumper. And so my question is there a damn point to this MiG switch? I say no. This very basic version of a Nintendo Switch flash cartridge, there's really no point. And the reason why is because with flash cartridges, what we're used to is you put an SD card in it and you can put your ROMs on it and you can load the ROMs through some form of GUI, whether that just be a list or graphical, and you launch your games. With the MiG switch, you have to physically dump your cartridges, which the cartridges are this tiny. I literally have hundreds of games in cases, my whole collection I'm able to travel with me to Hawaii to Texas in like I just put it in like a small in my luggage. So but like you can only do 4 on the MiG switch, and you have to push it in and insert it every time to switch the games. So you're doing the mechanism of the insert and the like every single time you want to switch the games, and it goes in order. Yeah. And so you have to dump your own games, which there's a unique code, which means that's cool because that keeps it less, piratey.
For video game preservation is good, I could say.
Yeah. But practicality, nobody's going to use this damn thing.
No.
I mean, if it's only supports 4 games, I can put 4 games in any Switch case that I have, and I just put the game in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
like the games that I showed off today. I have.
Yeah, and how much is the MiG switch? Do you know?
I thought it was like $40 to $60, and then the dumper is more, something like that.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Nope. So to me, is there a point to this? Its current state. Somebody's gonna come up with something better later. After the Switch is gone, I support doing for preservation a full like EverDrive type of deal. While it's currently in production, hell no. No, don't support it at all. Don't want any type of emulation on any new system while games are in production. I mean, number 1, we publish games. Number 2, though, those indie developers are still making money. And while they're still making money on that console, I don't want them to mess with any of that, whole economy, that environment. So that's I don't think there's a point to the MiG switch. What do you think about the MiG switch?
Yeah, whenever I first saw it, I thought it was going to be more along the lines of the R4DS.
Yeah, and
it's not. I haven't really looked into it. I did have an R4DS and I did use it, but like on my original DS.
Yeah.
But as far as Switch is concerned, I guess I'm just past that part in my gaming where like the only games that I want to play are the games that I would want to own anyway. So it's not like I'm going to want to pirate anything anyway. And even then, like I felt, kind of shady about pirating certain things. Although, like whenever I had like a pirated Xbox 360 at one point, Um, the games that I ended up really liking, I bought anyway. So
And
I don't know.
that's typically what I enjoy about the EverDrive-ish systems is it allows you to truly tailor
Try
what
before you
want
buy.
what you want to collect and
Yeah.
preserve yourself.
Mhm.
For me, I like stuff like the Analog Pocket because it's an ease of use while I'm not in my permanent house. So
Yeah.
from a convenience perspective, I enjoy having some of these opportunities to emulate. Now I still have a giant collection with thousands and thousands of games. But right now they're not at my fingertips. I can't play anything. So having the Pocket be able to do that, and then my Switch with tiny little cartridges that I have my collection with me essentially.
Mhm.
I enjoy that form factor.
Yeah.
And then Steam.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's another thing that just came up in the news. I just read last night that Steam officially came out and said, or Valve came out and said, because someone postulated to them, they're like, "Can I bequeath my Steam library to someone in my will?" And they said, "No, you cannot." So your Steam library dies with you,
Or you just give your username and password to your family.
which is against their EULA. So
As my daughter has my login and she goes onto my account.
yeah, I know. Who's going to stop them from doing that? But
She also does that
it's
on my
against
Switch.
their user agreement.
That's crazy. No, I mean, like everything goes to London, and she's logging into my Pokemon Sword version to get Pokemon on my Nintendo Switch account too. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Freaking wild, man. Your Steam library dies with you.
I know it sounds a lot more morbid and dire.
Morbid. Freaking crazy. Yeah. We'll have to do the May humble games next episode or the episode after that, like because there were some good ones this time. The month prior was all strategic and tactical games, just what you love, Tristan. Yeah, but this time there was some good ones, and but my thing is that I'm doing those, I'm claiming them all, and then I have a bunch of codes that I will share with people. So I know we shared a couple on an episode, and then I will hit up and share codes and stuff. And if people want to do code swapping, whatever, man. So shall we go?
I think we shall. Yeah, meat and potatoes of this episode.
Oh my goodness, the premium edition games tier list. So we're gonna do a traditional tier list. Tristan has my screen shared. I'm using tiermaker.com. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take every single premium edition game that we've announced, launched, published, and have on the way. And we're going to rack and stack them all into the tier lists. So we do an S through D tier ranking system. We actually do this at Premium when we rank games too internally.
Yeah.
So when we're testing a game, anything that's essentially not a B tier, we're not even really considering at this point. But there's a multitude of factors that we utilize at Premium. And a lot of it is personal based. But here are the criteria that we're going to judge the games on, and it's kind of mathematical, pretty fun. There's opportunities for it to get more than 5 points, because 1 point would get it to a D, 2 points a C, 3 points a B, 4 an A, and 5 it gets into that elusive S tier. We always considered an S tier like Auto Seller. It's like Super Mario Brothers. We got Mario.
Yeah. It's instantly recognizable. Has its own like reputation that precedes it.
Yeah.
You know.
And then like an A tier is an amazing game. A B tier is a great game. A C tier is a good game, and a good game that not all the team members like. So like a B and above, our whole team has to love it. And then C is, and then D is like nobody really likes it, and below that, like we just wouldn't even look at it. But the thing
needs to cook longer or something.
But with this episode, we're going to do a more mathematical style, and now we're judging stuff in hindsight too, which is fun. Fun. So our criteria that we're going to go over, we're going to talk about each one, is the in-game graphics. That'll get you 1 point. The gameplay. So if the gameplay is fun, if it's tight gameplay. The music in the game. If the music in the game is good. Or if it needs some work, whatever. The fun factor replay value. So if the game's just cool as hell. And, a game doesn't necessarily have to have great graphics, great gameplay, great music. It can be fun. Then there is the key art is what we call it. So as the physical games publisher designers, does the key art or what we've commissioned for the key art, does that stand out? Does that make it a really cool review? And then then the bonus, which can get things in extra points. So technically there could be a double S if it hit everything. But an S is an S. Anything that we've done special with premium edition games that puts it over, that gives it a point. Now with some of this stuff, we may during the episode look up some of the key arts and things for new games that we've just announced and signed. There are a few Kickstarters that we've done that we will rank, but we haven't necessarily even worked on them yet. So we'll go but we're going to start at the beginning. So
pardon us while we shrink. Here we go.
Yes, here we go. So shall we start with season 1 or should we go with what we signed first, Tristan?
Dealer's choice, buddy. I don't care where we go. We can go random if you want.
Okay, so let's we'll start with the first game that Premium signed, not the first game that launched, and it's not game number 1. Let's do a Robot Named Fight.
Robot Named Fight.
First game that we announced. So Robot Named Fight is right over here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can actually click it and move it. I didn't test this to see if the actual website's frozen. Oh, there we go.
No, there we go.
There we go. Okay. So, first things first, the graphics in Robot Named Fight remind me of Super Metroid, so that automatically gets a point. And now we're talking graphics. We're not talking about like modern HD graphics. We're talking,
this is what it's trying to represent. I mean, like it's supposed to be a Metroidvania in the vein of Super Metroid. Does it look like it? Absolutely, it does.
Exactly. And the game just looks amazing. So it definitely gets a point there from me. Do you give it a point too, Tristan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're doing a quorum system here too. So we can be talked up or down with a point. Gameplay. The gameplay is tight as hell. It has a whole Rogovania type of aspect, but every death you are responsible for. Yeah. So, I mean, the gameplay is absolutely an amazing aspect. And there's even wall jumping and stuff that you can do with some advanced stuff to progress a little further than you should, which is fun. A Metroid aspect.
For the music, I'm going to have to defer to you because honestly, nothing really stood out for me as far as music. So I can't even really remember.
So the music has more of a techno style to it, not necessarily as memorable as a Super Metroid, but that is a high bar. Mm-hmm. We did publish it on CD, and it is excellent, but is it, enough to bring it up to the next tier? That's the question, Tristan.
Yeah, maybe not. And I mean, the fact that I can't really even remember, maybe that speaks kind of, to the fact that it's not memorable.
I think that some of it is good, like the initial, the initial place where you're going through. But yeah, it does have a little bit of it's just okay in the music department. Yeah. So we go from the fun factor, replayability. I mean, yeah, for me,
absolutely,
that's a
no-brainer. That's kind of its whole appeal.
Yeah, it's infinite Super Metroid. Literally, I go back to it all the time, and you never get the same run twice, which is freaking awesome. Key art. So the key art in it, having all the gross tentacles and all the stuff, and we had Paul Niemeyer doing amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really good.
To me, that's an A. So we've had 5. We were 4 for 5. However, bonus PE items. All right, so we were talking about unique items that Premium has done, and we did. I'm really partial to how the strategy guide turned out, especially with the story of, that online versions weren't quite up to snuff, and we actually have the definitive strategy guide with it. So to me, that takes it from a traditional A tier to an S tier title, which is ironic for the first game that we are looking at. It's S tier.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I wasn't there for the beginning, but it seems like you guys may have planned on doing deluxe editions for everything going from the beginning. But
No.
this one definitely deserved the deluxe treatment. I mean, we
Yeah.
even gave it a steelbook, so it's really good.
So when we first started, the idea was to do one deluxe per series. And then we had realized that wasn't sustainable because of the time that it takes for the books to come in. People would be waiting for their pre-orders. So we only pick and choose deluxes as we can handle them, which is why we did this one. We've only done a couple others since.
Yeah.
And I know you're working on the Sunshine one. So
that's right.
Then we got one in the future, maybe two in the future that we'll be working on. All right. So, so Fight is in the S tier, which is crazy.
Yeah, which I agree with.
Which is crazy. And I mean, it's sold out before we've reordered it. So the actual sales data for premium does accentuate. Now, keep in mind, we can't really judge sales of games to how good it is because we're getting into Twilight of the Switch, and things that would have sold out in 2020, 2021 aren't going to necessarily sell out in 2024 because collectors have moved on all that extra stuff. So as a company perspective, like, we are still going to go with the same standards that we always have. Even though it may not necessarily, quote unquote, be an auto sellout, because we've never claimed to be a limited company. So, fun stuff. All right. Dealer's choice from the first series 1. What do you want to pick?
Let's go with, we'll just go with Blood Hockey.
All right. So Super Blood Hockey was the first release number 1. And actually, for Robot Named Fight, we should probably say, programmed by Matt Bittner. And really by one person, by the way, which is crazy. Super Blood Hockey, programmed by one person, Loren Lemke. But with that one, we had went through a digital publisher too, because some games have a digital publisher that's tied to it, which was Digerati at the time, no longer associated with Loren Lemke though. But Super Blood Hockey, let's go with it. Graphics, Tristan, NES style ice hockey. What do you?
Yeah, it's definitely going for ice hockey, and it's Super Blood Hockey. It's supposed to be over the top, like with pixelated blood. Yes, it absolutely gets there.
Yeah. It gets the point for the graphical aspects. Absolutely great. Gameplay perspective. So this is an easy to play, hard to master style game. Also, but the thing is that, like, it's not one of those games where it's gonna be an NBA Jam or NHL hits where you're gonna score 1 million points. Like, it's a low scoring game like hockey.
Yeah, if you played ice hockey or Blades of Steel, you're right at home.
Exactly. Do you give it a point?
Yes.
Yes, I do as well. So from a gameplay perspective, it definitely moves up a rank. From a musical perspective, what do you think about the music? Because it's NES.
I don't think so. It's functional. It's not where it shines.
It's fun. There's only a couple tracks though, and they're very short tracks. Sean Daly, who did one of our artwork, the artwork that's on the retail insert, he did the music as well, but he's an artist first, musician second. The music's cool. It's not going to get us a point though. The soundtrack's not going to be moving anything. So let's go over to the fun factor, the replayability. So how do you like the fun factor and the replayability?
If it did not have the career mode with, like, shooting up your players with, like, steroids and giving them drugs, and if it didn't have that, I wouldn't give it a point, but since it does, and that's unlike anything else that exists out there, it gets a point in my book.
The franchise mode makes this
mode.
game into the next echelon for sure.
Absolutely.
100%. If it was just ice hockey, if it was just a standard game of NES ice hockey, it would not get the point. But yeah, agreed. Key art. So this is an interesting one because the key art itself, I wouldn't necessarily, because the key art is what's on the icon here. It's not that great, but the art we use for the retail insert was done by Sean Daly, and it's a comic book style, which looks amazing. And we
It
have
is really cool.
And that was part of what was already created. And then we had, Paul Niemeyer did a bloody style as the first piece that he did for premium, which could go into the special PE physical items
And that's actually where I was going to put my argument. I think we should combine those two because that combined with the comic book that we did, which is part of the artwork, I believe. I think those two together give it another point into the A.
1 point. Yes, exactly. Agreed. Yes. And I would say because the key art itself is lacking, but the items that we did with the key art is what did it.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yes, absolutely. So this is an A title, and it's a solid A title. From what I'm tracking, we have premium has not been able to reorder Super Blood Hockey, but they can now. So we do plan on doing another batch of Super Blood Hockey,
which is good because it always sells. It always sells at conventions.
Now, keep in mind, if we redo Super Blood Hockey, it will have a better slipcase.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's right.
Since Series 2. We have upgraded our slipcases, and so the slipcases will be upgraded for Super Blood Hockey, which is really cool, really fun. So crazy. So we got an S tier and an A tier. Yeah. I guess we're going to Pigeon Dev Games Collection.
Go Pigeon Dev.
Pigeon Dev. So I've had people ask me, we always say we always sign the best games and all those things. However, when you first start off as a publisher, people take a chance on you. And the other piece is that we probably, in hindsight, Tristan and Jeff, we probably would have designed this and published this much differently. So the Pigeon Dev Games Collection is a collection of 4 games. There's Awesome P1 and 2. And then there's Bucket Night and Explosive Jake, which were thrown into a multi-application card of 4 games. In reality, the fun games that we had signed were the Awesome P games. The other ones were just bonus. And in hindsight, we probably would have just made it the Awesome P collection, which already existed, and did a Game Boy aesthetic. It would have been a banger. But because it's a Pigeon Dev, what the hell is a Pigeon Dev? Well, that's the name of the company. Who's Pigeon Dev? They did a bunch of indie games. Yeah, it's like, in hindsight, it's like, it's not necessarily the best ideas that Jeff had back in the day, but it is a really fun game. So let's go to graphics. What are your, and we're going to talk all 4 as a combination, but also like with Awesome P and Awesome P2 being, the top tier.
So with graphics, I guess I struggle a little bit. And I am trying to combine them as a whole. Awesome Jake and
Explosive Jake.
Explosive Jake and Awesome P collection and Bucket Night.
All NES.
Yeah, both of those are NES, and then like the Awesome P are supposed to be like Game Boy games. So do they look like Game Boy games? Yes. Do the other 2 look like the best NES games? Not really. I'm not that big a fan of the graphical style of those 2, but Awesome P is good.
Yes.
I'd almost give this half a point, and like we'd be at a D- at this point.
Yeah. I'm there with the Awesome P games themselves are good. The other 2 very dark. They're like more like mobile-y indie style. Yep. Then we go over to the gameplay. Gameplay is tight on Awesome P games. Gameplay is decently tight on Bucket Night. Explosive Jake is like a Bomberman clone, and it has no depth to it, so it's not.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not. And this is personal preference. I'm not a big Bomberman fan. I never have been. Even the best Bomberman game that's ever existed, I don't like it.
I like Bomberman, especially Saturn version, when you have a giant room of people. Playing it by myself.
No. Yeah, that's what I hear. It's supposed to be like a lot of fun, but I never really had fun with it. So I'm not going to knock it just because of my personal preference. But again, I don't think that gameplay gives it another point, but another half point. So between graphics and gameplay, I would give it a solid point.
So right now it's at a D.
Yeah.
Right now it's at a D. The music is bare bones. I mean, again, they put
Yeah.
it on a CD, but it's very there's not a whole lot to the music here. Really, each game has like 1 or 2 tracks. Not very long, very uninspired. Fun factor replayability. So, not really, the games don't really have a replayability, but the very first time you play the Awesome P games, it's fun as shit.
Yeah. And
I
so
give it a point for fun.
okay, I'm still at half a point here just for fun factor.
Yeah. And it's either it's an up or a down. Like if it gives a half a point, you gotta go.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
And
exactly.
so
We'll get
we
into the
will
C.
lean.
So we're a
we're
low
gonna
C right now in my book.
We're in the C right now. Now key art. I am not a huge fan of the key art.
I'm not.
And the reason being isn't because the game itself, the key art itself. It's because we had to incorporate all 4 titles into all the artwork pieces. It's just not a great aesthetic. That's why, like in the future, I don't want to do a multiplication card with a bunch of non-jointed, disconjointed games. It's just not fun to do. If the games are in the same canon, the same thing, like Awesome P1 and 2.
Same universe, yeah, whatever.
Same universe, I'm cool with that. But adding in the giant bucket knight, which on there you can see on the thing, which is very small icons, but like the bucket knight is the focus. Like it's not even the best game is the focus. It's just, and even having Paul Niemeyer do some art couldn't elevate it to the next level. And then the other piece is the special PE. I did a guide with this, which we had a designer do, and it wasn't even that fun to do the guide for. The most fun part was the actual physical portion, like designing the physical, because it was the very first year of premium. It was very fun.
And we gave it a deluxe treatment. This one also got a steelbook, which I actually like. It's really
steelbook
nice.
is cool. It's like a TV.
So again, between I still think this sits at a high C.
It's a C title.
Yeah. It's a C
I'd
title.
say it's a solid C. It's a solid C title. If we had, gotten rid of the other 2 games or had the other 2 games not marketed, but maybe on the back and then just focused on Awesome P, we could have potentially made this a B title, giving it a little bit of fluff. But in reality, would Premium be publishing this game in 2024? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But they gave us a chance, which we appreciate. And, it was done again by a single programmer. And she is done like 3-4 games since then. There's an Awesome P3 out there now, by the way.
And I mean, like seriously, those Awesome P games are really fun.
Yep.
So is it worth getting? Yeah, it's still worth getting.
Exactly. All right, so let's go to the final game from the initial beginnings of Premium, and that is Demons Tier Plus. If I can find it here, I can.
Oh, it's bottom, yeah.
It is hiding. I'm just going to move it up so we can see it. Not necessarily, we didn't give it a point yet. So from a graphics perspective, Tristan, Demons Tier Plus being, it has that overhead aspect with the smaller graphics. And then it's just kind of like a roguelike before Vampire Survivors where you're actually attacking over and over again.
Yeah. I understand it's supposed to be bare bones. I think I really don't like the graphics in Demons Tier Plus. Where it shines for me are these other factors. That's just me. So I don't think I'm going to give it a point for graphics.
No point for graphics. I think that the character designs in there and the boss designs are really fun.
The character designs are cool, but as far as the gameplay and like and it's not a knock. It's just a very simplistic graphically game. So
okay, so you said for gameplay. So what about gameplay?
Gameplay is super fun.
Yeah. So
I
gameplay
love twin
definitely.
stick. I love twin stick kind of stuff.
Yeah, so this is like a twin stick shooter type as you're attacking, which is reminiscent of like your Smash TV style game.
A Gauntlet
or Gauntlet. Exactly. Yeah. And it's never ending Gauntlet. You can unlock characters, do all the upgrade weapons.
Yeah, it's super fun.
It is a really solid game. That
Great
definitely
gameplay.
gets it a point.
Yeah.
That definitely gets it a point. So there's your first point. Now music. What do we know
Not
about the
really.
music? The music's pretty cool, but it's not nothing that I'm gonna put in my car, right?
No.
So it's okay from a musical perspective. What about a fun factor, replayability? Again, roguelike.
Absolutely.
You can
Absolutely.
you can
Yeah.
absolutely replay the game. 100%. Key art. So this is one where the key art is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Got some boobs in it that we were forced to cover up. Um, and Paul Niemeyer had done some stuff with it too. So I would say, again, what we've done with it from premium, and we had Justin Seabolt do artwork for it,
Yeah.
which he did a wooden canvas art piece that went in the retro box. So what we've done with it and everything, I could definitely give it a point.
I do too.
Definitely give it a point, which gives it to a solid B, because we're taking the key art combined with the special P physical items.
Agreed.
Yeah. So,
Got a
this
P
is
title.
the gamut that we had for the first Series 1 and Series 2, is that we had an S, A, B, and C title for premium. It's just such a wild scale. You know what I mean? So shall we go into Series 3 or should we skip around, Tristan? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's just go in order since we've already done it this way.
Okay. So let's jump over to let's see, Cathedral.
Yeah.
And here's a wild thing, me doing the Metroidvania Chronicles, Cathedral is some people's S tier Metroidvanias. And so that is a very interesting piece. So graphics, NES style graphics. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I give it a point. It's absolutely good. I mean, like, on the level of like Shovel Knight.
Yep. I agree. And it is so well done. And the thing is that you can do NES graphics and make them crisp and have enough. And the key is usually is if it's animated or not. The animation that they do with it. If there's low animation and they're like blocky walking.
Yeah, but it's actually really good. Yeah, I mean,
Super
yeah,
fluid. It's
think like
perfect.
the original Castlevania. It always felt like Simon was missing a couple animation frames. You don't really feel like that here.
Exactly. This is flawless. Like that. So you can do a minimalistic graphics and still get a plus. It doesn't have to be HD or craziness. Gameplay. Gameplay's freaking solid. Like the tightest gameplay. You can bounce off of people, characters. You get lots of gated exploration. So you get lots and lots of new abilities. And what I like is that you have this stuff that you can toggle on and off at save points for the different ability upgrades, and then eventually you get to do them all, and then you feel like super powered, like Superman.
Yeah, I love
so
that
good
stuff.
And then the boss fights are insane. So
yeah,
like,
so great.
100%. Music. The music in this game,
I really like the music too.
Freaking stellar. This is another one like with Row NA Fight that is awesome to have on CD. And I do like. Yep.
And what's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but what's cool about like when you go back and do a game like Cathedral or Shovel Knight is the games at the time, whenever they were being developed for the 8-bit NES, like the composers only had so much like power to work with the chips. But nowadays, you're not working within those limitations, but now you're trying to like box yourself in and make it sound like something that would have had limitations in the day. So does it sound like something that does, they were trying to work within those confines? Yeah. Is it a good soundtrack? Yeah. So they knocked it out of the park.
It's freaking amazing. Fun factor, replayability.
Yeah.
Game's fun as hell.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I've beat the game and I want to play it again. So
exactly. Now that last boss fight is a beast, but that is a fun game. And I haven't played it in a few years now, and I would love to pick it back up and play it again, which is a testament that it is one of those all-time great games. Final piece, physical items, key art, all those pieces. I mean, the key art's awesome. Paul Niemeyer did an amazing job with his art. And for the soundtrack, the developers created a new piece where all the bosses are playing musical instruments. Like all those pieces, like To me, this is another S tier premium release, man.
Absolutely.
Like,
Well, yeah, and coupled with the fact that our special release, like we have a hand-drawn game guide for this. My gosh.
dude, that is even the other piece we didn't even talk about. Phil Summers doing the hand-drawn game guide for Cathedral is
So this is
so
absolutely an S tier.
Oh yeah. Like it is wild how good this
I have
game.
nothing bad to say about Cathedral. Nothing.
Nope. It is an S tier title. Now that's 2 S tiers and 2 Metroidvanias, which us being retro gamers and stuff, maybe we're a little bit biased, but we're allowed to be. We're reviewers. Like, we're allowed to be biased. So let's move over to Mighty Fight Federation next. Mighty Fight. So interesting. Let's go for graphics for Mighty Fight Federation. What do you think about the graphics here?
Graphics are great.
Yeah.
Graphics are amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't detract. It's very flashy, which is what it's supposed to be.
Well, and for a fighting game and a 3D based fighting game, like, because we always say like Power Stone and Smash combined. So it's like Smash Brothers style gameplay, but with Power Stone overhead where you're running around on a plane. It looks amazing. It looks like you're playing with action figures almost. And there's some known characters in there, like you got Ricky and Cunyo from Earth City Ransom and Toe Jam and Earl. I mean, this was like almost like a bucket list too for premium because we got to work with some amazing IPs. Like we get to work with Bloodstained.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
Ukulele.
That's crazy.
I'm
upset that I wasn't around during that time when we were doing Mighty Fight because I would have been geeking out.
Yeah. Well, and I think without all those IPs, we may not have published it. But because it had all those IPs associated, it was almost like one of those preservation historical like landmark things. Because again, like from a fighting game perspective, fighting game mechanics, like people are particular with their fighting games.
Yeah.
But graphics in this game, amazing. Gameplay. What about the gameplay?
That's where I think they whiffed a little bit.
I'm not
gameplay,
a fan.
Yeah. So like you said, fighting game players, FGC, very particular. You're not going to find this in Evo ever.
Nope.
Because it's kind of button mashy. It's a little too fast for its own good. And a little bit too tight of controls. I don't know what I would have done differently. It just doesn't feel like a good mixture of gameplay mechanics and combo systems and controls. It just doesn't feel good.
Exactly. It's just missing a few chromosomes in the zeitgeist. Like if they'd done a little bit more balancing, add a little more variety. I'm a big fan of the way that some certain combos flow, certain moves flow. Either your combo system or move system that it flows, or you add a weapon system like Power Stone, because that's what this is missing. If this had like a weapon system or some kind of variant, it might have put it over the top. But it was missing that, so it does not get a point. Music
is great.
So the music in this,
the music is amazing.
Some of the musicians too, like we have an original Capcom musician from Mega Man in this game. Like this game has some awesome musical aspects to it, which is freaking wild. It's so crazy, but it's such a good game. And again, putting this one on a CD soundtrack was a fun aspect. Fun factor replayability, Tristan.
So I think of this game in the context of like a couch versus like party game sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like if you have 3 other friends like you're playing against in this arena and you're beating up on each other, I think that's where you'd have the most fun. Replay value as far as like the story mode, I don't see myself like going back and playing this game very much, but it, in that very specific instance of being a party game, it would be fun.
Now, my thing is, I absolutely would agree with you if it was fun to play, but because the gameplay is not fun to play, we're not going to play it out at Couch Co-op when we go hang out at Tristan's house for his game night because it's lacking that chromosome. So I am off a point. I would not give it a point for that.
Okay.
So I'm off the point for the gameplay, the fun factor, replayability. Again, it doesn't lend itself to want me to play more. Unfortunately, because it has great graphics, it has great music. It's like it's missing.
It really does. Yeah, they like I said, they whiffed whenever it came to the gameplay.
Now we look at it from a key art or special items perspective for its final point. So the key is all the key art and everything is based off the graphics, but does it do anything special?
Yeah, we always get compliments for this. In fact, about like the homages that we made with the PSP and the Dreamcast and NES. You know, if we're talking about the retro box. So I think whoever designed this knocked it out of the park. It's very nice. It's very nice.
It is a fun one. So I would say that does give it its extra points to put it in.
I think so too.
Yeah. Now that is probably like a B- tier for overall for a game. Like it's almost a C, but not quite.
Yeah, but it's in the B. I wouldn't call it a C title.
Well, and let's be honest right here as we're 6 games in, Premium should not be publishing a D title. Like there should be no game that we have. If it was in a D, we probably should have not signed it.
Exactly.
Like a C is our bare bones, and Pigeon Dev barely scraped by. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy to sell either, but like it's fun. So solid B for Mighty Fight. The final game of Series 3, though, Tristan, Phenatopia Awakening.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. So graphics, Super Nintendo style, 32-bit almost.
The sprites are amazing. Like the animation's great.
The colors.
Everything's so vibrant. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one is like... This was the game that when I showed it off live at panels and stuff, people like... eyes opened and jaws hit the ground, and we got standing ovations afterward. Like the music, the gameplay, like the music gets at a point, right?
Yeah, it's a charming game.
Music's amazing. It has 2 CDs worth of music.
The gameplay is great. There's tons of different mechanics. I mean, like,
it's huge too. The game's
it's huge.
And it's gated exploration to the point where you get more abilities as you go through to unlock more spots on the map. The map, though, is different because it's not Metroidvania because it's not all linear. You actually get to a Zelda 2 style map that you can traverse around, which is cool. It's a cool way to change up the model and not make it a traditional Metroidvania, even though it is an abnormal, unconventional style.
Yeah.
So then you add in the fun factor, replayability. This game is a joy to play.
Absolutely.
Makes me want to replay it right now, just talking about it.
Yeah.
Like
it's a classic. It's a classic.
And then you add in the key art and the special.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Like
what did we actually do for like the releases? We had a keychain and what else?
So the developers were actually very involved with this release. We did the soundtrack and they wanted a cute keychain. And then the retro box was designed off of like a Super Nintendo style. And they did this awesome, like custom made piece where she's like looking over her shoulder, like Legend of Zelda, which was amazing. Like it was the Legend of Zelda original art. And so like we didn't do a deluxe for this, which would have been crazy.
Oh gosh, yeah, that could have worked pretty well with a guide. My gosh.
Yeah, because right now we got that. This would creep it up into the S tier for premium, and this is the 3rd S tier, and we've only done 1 guide for 3, so we got to get a little bit better with our choices.
No, yeah, Phenatopia is excellent. Excellent.
Oh yeah, freaking crazy, man.
Series 4.
All right, so we go over to the Series 4. First one we will go to is a little known game called, let's do Rack and Ruin.
Okay.
Rack and Ruin is a Series 4, even though we didn't announce that game until the 3rd later release. Rack and Ruin. All right, so let's go to the graphics for Rack and Ruin.
It was actually illustrated by someone who did work on World of Warcraft, so it has a little bit of a pedigree. It definitely has its own unique art style. So as far as graphics go, yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a bit polarizing though because
yeah, I
kind of
agree with that. I agree
well,
with that.
because it's
So
it's
maybe
kind of
half a
like
point.
well, it's kind of like what you talk about with my physical books. When you get them in person, it blows you away. Looking at a screenshot or Rack and Ruin, it looks like a damn mobile game. You play it, and it looks
Mm,
like a painting, like a masterpiece. Like the
yeah,
graphics are great. Um,
yeah.
and we'll call it a half. We'll move it up a notch, but we'll
Hmm.
call it a half that it might
Yeah.
potentially like creep up. Gameplay.
So it plays like a Zelda game, but the combat is more like a twin stick shooter. Um,
Yes. It has
and
Zelda
like you have a
style
magic
exploration.
system, and so where I think the gameplay falls a little bit flat is the spells and like a lot of the items that you get feel unbalanced.
Yeah.
To me, and sort of unnecessary. If it had a better balance and better progression, it would have been a lot more solid. So gameplay, I'm also, even though it's an enjoyable experience, I'm going to give it another half a point
Yeah. I think
because it doesn't fully get there.
yeah, it's there, but like even stuff like you get the electric attack, it just like hits an
Yeah.
electric on an enemy and you just gotta sit there while it like drains.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
there's not really a satisfying style pop when they're getting attacked or anything. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's again, so I it's not enough for us to notch it up to the next tier, but it's there. We're not removing anything for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Music wise. So a
The
lot of heavy
music
metal.
isn't. Yeah, and it's. I mean, like, yeah, there are parts that are heavy metal. There are parts that are very calm. So it's all over the spectrum.
Yeah.
This game. Would I give it a full point? I don't know if I would.
Mm-mm. And that's the thing is is it enough to bump it up? I'd say it's enough to bump it up to the C.
Yeah, at least a C
Um,
minus.
yeah, but it's not necessarily anything that again did an awesome design on this one that looks like Metallica black. Somebody did. Um and that's the other piece is that you go to the fun factor replayability because hand in hand the gameplay is a little off. It doesn't make me want to go back and play it. It doesn't
No,
it,
yeah, as far as replay value, I totally agree with you there. And it's not procedurally generated, it's not randomly generated. It is what it is. It's a tailored experience. So like you're not going to have a different experience if you play it again. And
Mhm. And it's a bit of a
it's not a
slog.
classic either. Yeah,
Well,
it's a bit of a slog, yeah.
yeah, because of the mechanics, like you were saying, are a little more challenging. It's a little bit of a slog to play through, which doesn't lend myself to wanting to go back and play it again.
Mhm. Yeah, and the story isn't as solid as I would have liked either.
Doesn't give it anything.
So
Um,
another half point there. So we're at a C plus now.
and then we have our key art slash special, and I would say we go from a C minus to a C. By the way, not even a C plus.
Oh, C. Okay.
Now
Sure.
we're at a C. And like you got your key art, your special bonus items. I mean, this was the first one traditionally that you had some input into, right?
Mhm. Yeah, this was the first.
And so like there's some cool stuff, but I felt like a lot of this was in spite of the art that was provided. Like I had to create things within what was given to us.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
Paul
it was
Niemeyer's
pretty
art.
bare minimum.
Yeah, Paul Niemeyer did some art and it looks cool, but again, didn't lend itself to taking it over the top. Like it's probably notch it up to a C plus, but I'm not
Yeah.
enough to notch it up to a B.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
which is crazy
Um,
because, like, if you look at it from the onset, like, this is an action RPG with heavy metal inspirations and lots of, like, world domination. Sounds like it would be, like, an A or an S tier for me.
and I would have actually fought for this to be a B. I'm happy with it being a C plus and almost a B. But
Almost a B.
I would have actually fought for this to be a B had they gone with the original comic book script. that they were going to do. The comic book they ended up doing,
and
I'm
this
not
comic book
happy with it.
was the same comic book artist that did the one for Super Blood Hockey, which was Sean Daly, who did the music for Super Blood. Like his comic is great, and that is where like I can almost bump it up because that comic is cool.
I'm sorry to whoever wrote that if you're listening to me right now, but it's just not a memorable thing. And like the one that was pitched to us, and maybe it was Sean also, whoever pitched it, in our Discord chat, that first storyboard for the comic, I laughed out loud. Like I loved that.
The first storyboard was pitched by Sean Daly, the comic book artist, and then it was changed from the actual game developer.
Mistake.
Yep.
Big mistake.
So let's just state it on the record. Had they stuck with that special bonus item would have notched it up and it would have been a B tier. We really couldn't.
To me, yeah, absolutely. And that's where it falters in my book.
The whole game.
That was I know. And that was a huge mistake for me. Like that. Gosh damn, that was such a good plot what he came up with. Like I actually laughed out loud.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
But no. Yeah, and I didn't know that they changed it until I got it in my hands and I read the comic. I'm like, what's this crap?
Dude, it was a lot of back and forth with it.
Yeah. What do I know?
Man. So that's the second C game, and I'm okay with it being at the C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, if you're looking at it, you see how the games have sold. Actually, Demon's Tier actually sells more like an A tier. But the other games.
But dude, if you're looking for a Zelda-like adventure with like I mean, like that sounds like an awesome combination, and it is. It's a good game. It just falls short in other areas.
Exactly.
It's really fun.
So, speaking of really fun, let's move over to Rain on Your Parade.
Mm-hmm.
Rain on Your Parade. So, Rain on Your Parade is more of a casual style game. You're an asshole cloud, you ruin everything. And it's 3D graphics, very cartoony.
I can't hear that and not laugh. You're an asshole cloud.
You're an asshole cloud. Literally, the first level, you rain on somebody's wedding.
Yeah. So good.
And then it gives you like little like things to do, like ruin the bride and groom. That's like get all the guests, and then it's like destroy everything, and it's like hilarious.
It's so good. The premise is awesome. If you've ever played like Untitled Goose Game or even Katamari games that like you're just messing with people. It's entertaining, like the actual gameplay, but like the substance of it takes it to the next level. It's hilarious. Like
so the game. So we just said gameplay is a point for sure.
Yeah.
Because the gameplay is fun as hell. What about from the graphics perspective? Cartoony minimalist graphics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does what it does like very well. It's very well done. It's supposed to be like kind of like Little Big Planet, where you're actually like the cloud suspended by a couple strings.
And I feel like it fits the genre, fits the mood, does exactly what it needs to, and it's polished. I like that you can customize your cloud and draw faces on it and stuff, and it shows it on the character. Like it's really cool. My daughter would draw on it.
It's really good.
Like it's so cool. Music.
Not memorable to me.
Not real memorable from the music perspective. Like it's one of those where we couldn't even use the music CD because it was not allowed to be used either. So it was okay. So the music, fun factor through the roof.
Through the roof.
Fun factors
without a doubt.
The replayability though, after you beat it completely once, maybe take some time off in between them, but so definitely worth a point though.
I would say even the replay value, like they're because they have all these like levels that are like based on other IPs or like TV shows. They're like The Office has some levels, Metal Gear has some levels, stuff like that. And even if you've played that, that's stuff that you're going to want to show other people. So I think that has some replay value because it's got like cool things to show people.
Yeah, that's true. And that does make it fun. So now we look at the key art and anything we did physically with premium. We were pretty limited with the key art with this game. Like, the developer is very particular on what they wanted. It was just okay. To me, there was nothing that put it over the top. And in reality, it's just a blue slipcase. I have to explain to customers and gamers like what this actual game is, because it doesn't lend itself. It's very minimalist. It's hipster looking. It's cool
Yeah, it
looking.
is. We're very lucky that we can describe it as you play as an asshole cloud, because
Yeah.
that does resonate with people, and that, I mean, really, that sums it up. But
Yeah.
if it was anything other than that, then we'd have a hard time selling it based on the packaging.
And my thing is that had this been a known IP or a viral game, you can go hipster with it. You can
Yeah.
make it minimalist. But
Mhm.
without that being the case, it leads to a challenging way to showcase how awesome and cool as hell this game is. This game
Yeah.
should be an A tier, but I don't think we can give it the point.
Yeah, I do like the wooden coaster that we made, though. That's really nice.
Yeah, and that was the first time we couldn't do a CD release, so we had to think about something that was substance that works. And I was initially going to do it as just a cloud, but then like Josh on our team is an engineer and can do stuff. He's like, well, if we do it as a coaster, some people can use it as a coaster too, and we do the cloud and use all the different art pieces as clip art and make it look really cool. And I thought it was fun. I designed all the clip art
It
pieces.
did look really good. But another thing that we actually ran into issues with is the stickers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the size of the stickers.
So that was the other piece, is that they wanted to be able to, on the inside, this was one of our old designers that's no longer with the team, wanted to be able to flip the cover and be able to design your own cloud kit. Like, design your own cover, design your own cloud. And that was the 2 releases with stickers. And the stickers, they just turned out okay. It was kind of gimmicky. It's not something that I've ever been interested in doing with stickers, but I'm compromised. I was like, okay, let's try it out. It's similar with Mighty Fight Federation and doing the cards.
Yeah.
Trading cards, which we didn't
or
mention.
Demons Tier Plus and the stat cards.
The giant stat cards that don't even fit in the box because they were oversized.
Yeah.
Yes. We've had a few logistical hiccups as a company.
We learn. We're learning.
And some of this is it worth reprinting or not? And these ones were like, no, it's not worth reprinting, but in the future we will not do it that way.
Yeah.
Because it didn't add or subtract anything to the release. Nobody really, like, we did like polls and stuff, and everybody's like, so it's okay.
So yeah, solid B tier, but I mean, anyone who buys this game is going to be enamored with it.
Well, and it's because it's casual too. Like, a lot of families love it. Like, kids will get it. And, like, and when people play it, the game itself is top tier.
So this is a high B in our
absolutely.
opinion.
Absolutely. So the third game of this series for the Switch side is Wonderling DX. Wonderling. And to me, I don't know. I would think that this would be a polarizing one because our rating might be higher than actually how it does in real life.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So graphics of Wonderling DX, where you play as the Goomba on an auto-scrolling path, but then you kind of like get new abilities as you progress through and try to set times. Graphics itself, Super Nintendo.
I think the graphics are good. And this is just my own preference. I don't like the style, the comic style of the characters, but I'm not gonna knock it either. So it's good.
I think the in-game graphics are pretty cool. I like the pixel graphics. I will absolutely give it a point for the pixel graphics. So we'll give it that point, half a point, point and a half, not point and a half, 3/4 of a point. Let's move over to the gameplay. What do you think about the gameplay?
I think the gameplay is absolutely solid.
Yeah.
It's really well curated, really well thought out. The puzzles are awesome. It's very varied. It's not boring. Yeah, and you use the new abilities just like any other game progression. So it's really well thought out. Excellent gameplay.
And the thing is that it definitely is pixel tight gameplay, which is really fun to do. Music wise, how is
Not
your music?
memorable.
Not memorable. It's okay.
Yeah.
Did the soundtrack on it. It's an all right music. It's okay. Fun factor, playability.
Absolutely super fun. A lot of replayability because there's a lot of things to find, like a lot of unlockables and hidden things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that absolutely gives it another point.
Absolutely. And I mean, the thing is that all the costumes you unlock, so it makes you want to go back and play the level to do a little bit better, so you can get the next hat or get something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Like it's a fun thing. Key art or anything special that Premium has done with it?
The key art doesn't really stand out for me.
Nope.
And dude, even their like Wonderling DX logo, I had to get myself. Like
Yeah.
that didn't exist. Like what? I had to make
Well,
it.
yeah, and like they
Like
had gotten
a high res version anyway.
yeah, they had done Wonderling DX. They're rebranding their company, being bought by Embracer at the time and all that stuff. They
Yeah.
were going through all that stuff, the company. But yeah, and then anything we've done special with it. Again, we talked about the stickers were kind of mid. And then the artwork, we only had the key art to work with. We couldn't commission any artwork with it too. So I think it's a solid B title.
I think it's a B title as well.
Yeah. It's cool. And so you look in there, and that whole series for Switch, we had 2 B's and a C, whereas the series before we had 2 S's.
Yeah.
And a B. So it's a much different zeitgeist. However, with this series, we also did have an NES game that we released.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So Ore Body Binder's Tale on the Nintendo Entertainment System, by John Vanderhoff. And it kind of plays a little bit like a Mega Man style game. Not really. You don't really get all the boss upgrades as many as you would in a Mega Man game, but it is really fun. And he did create a mode specifically, boss fight mode specifically for our Premium Edition Games Challenge, which is cool. So graphics, and I mean, this is on an NES, so you're limited by the NES. What do you think about the graphics?
Great. Graphics are great, and even some of the enemies that you fight are really big sprites, so impressive. Very well done.
I feel like he did great with it. The bosses, there's like the big giant robot boss that you'll see when you Google screenshots of this game.
Yeah.
Really excellent. Gameplay's tight.
Yeah, gameplay's tight.
Plays very well. Something that was created in NES Maker too. Very, very tight gameplay. Going through it's solid. You got boss fights, you go through it. And you know, it's one of those that feels like something that would have been released on the NES. Music.
It's not as varied as I would like it to be. There's a lot of stages and there's a lot of repetition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. The music, some of the pieces
It's
themselves
good.
are excellent.
It's good. It's just repetitive.
Yeah, some of them are excellent, but it could use a little more work there. Fun factor, replayability.
Replayability, I don't know, but fun factor, playing it through the first time, yes. I'd give it a half a point.
Yeah, it's very fun. I'll pop it up for that.
Yeah, it definitely deserves to go into the B at that point.
And you know, we add in there from a fun factor replayability, he added a new mode of the boss fight just for our challenges. And we didn't even talk about the challenges through this episode, but we do challenges from the developers to earn physical patches. And so the first one for the NES, he actually created a spot for it, which is cool. Now we got the key art and physical items. So I really do like the painting that John got commissioned for the artwork.
Beautiful.
It is phenomenal.
It's the same artist, if I'm not mistaken. Please, correct me if I'm wrong, John, if you're watching this. As the same person who did the oratorio.
He has them do everything.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And it was done on canvas. And if you zoom in, we tried to put it as big a PPI as we could, on printing. but like it comes across that it's a really gorgeous piece.
Well, and
Really.
so you add that, and then plus we did the first ever we did our silver edition for the limited, and I crimped a little silver edition in the corners, and which is likely not going to be a standard going forward. It's just something because I was hand assembling the entire release. I did something special. But
well, it's our first one. We should have done something special, so we did. That's our first one.
But this means Oratoria or Body Binder's Tale is an A title.
I agree.
And it is. It's a great NES game, but it's a great game in general. Like we're looking at it within the limitations, but just specifically this game on the NES is absolutely within the A tier.
Yep.
All right. Where should we go next, Tristan? Because now it gets tricky. We have a couple of combos in here.
Let's go the non retro titles. So like they bleed pixels first.
Okay. Let's do They Bleed Pixels. Okay, so They Bleed Pixels is a action-based game. They have single button combos as you're going through and like attacking enemies level by level, and the levels are timed and graded and all this stuff. And from graphic perspective, man, I like what they did with the graphics because it's like gory, pixelated. I enjoyed it a lot. What about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Especially like the way they did the blood physics. Excessive gore, and it's just like flying all over the place, kind of like it does in Super Blood Hockey.
Exactly.
If you're gonna have blood or bleeding in the title, you better make it like front and center, which they do.
Exactly. So good. Gameplay wise, so to me, again, this is an easy to play, hard to master game. Difficulty wraps up pretty fast, but it is satisfying as hell to pull off some of these combos and then toss an enemy. And I mean, even if you die, you got this little warp back thing that you can do, or you can like warp back your character a little bit too. To me, it's a plus for sure.
Yeah, I agree too. Gameplay, like it's one button combat, but it's not button mashing. You have to be very methodical and thoughtful about the way that you attack and the way you combo those attacks.
Exactly. What about music?
Music is actually really good in this title. Which you wouldn't expect for something that looks as retro as it does. Like they actually poured a lot of effort, and it shows into this this title. Like for the music soundtrack, it's really varied and excellent throughout.
Exactly, and it's a really really like solidly done soundtrack. Another great one that we were able to do the soundtrack for. What about your fun factor replayability?
Fun factor, it's fun. I wouldn't say that I would replay it because it's one of those games where like you just get a little bit further and a little bit further until you beat the game. But it's a frustrating like learn as you go experience. And I don't like being frustrated. I don't know about you. I'm not like one of those crazy speedrunners that's going to go back and play this sort of game and do it like better than I did the last time. I'm going to beat the level and then like forget it ever existed. So I'm not going to come back and play the game. That's not to say that it's not a fun game, but I'm not going to give it a full point.
One and done. Yes.
Yeah, one and done. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not enough to bump it up to the next tier for sure. But it is fun. Yeah. What about our key art and what we've done physically for premium? Like for
the key art was really good. I mean,
we
worked. Yeah, it was awesome. We worked with the developer and the artist like hand in hand throughout this entire title, and actually had one of my friends, Rachel Rice, do the retro box artwork, which she just knocked out of the park. It's beautiful. I think that's one of the best like artworks that we've done for a game. Yeah, it's just
I got the retro art here at the house. Yeah. So it's before because my house hasn't been packed up.
It's very pleasing on the eyes, and anything that we needed, we got as far as like artwork was concerned. So that was a good experience.
And it looks amazing. The key arts
Yeah.
are cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of fun stuff we could do with the graphics for terms of releases too. Yeah. So again, we got a solid A title for They Bleed Pixels.
Well, yeah, and I like the fact that they let me make the soundtrack a Saw Blade.
That was fun. And then when it spin, if you have a see-through one, it spins. It's so cool.
A bloody Saw Blade. It's pretty awesome.
Bloody Saw Blade. That's so cool. All right, so we're gonna jump over to Raji next.
Yeah.
Raji and Ancient Epic. So we got basically God of War, but with Indian mythology.
Yes, Indian mythology, and it is
Indian.
Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it is the first. Graphically, it is beautiful,
phenomenal, like beautiful graphics,
beautiful
graphics. And this is a game that was actually highlighted on like Nintendo Directs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've seen
it's award winning. It's award winning.
Yes, award winning. Wild thing.
The graphic engine that they use to make the game is really really great lighting effects.
Yeah.
So it's hard to describe, but like if you go into the game and play it, like the reflections off everything, the stained glass, and like there's all this varied stuff that's just really colorful, vibrant, and beautiful throughout the game.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. Gameplay wise, so playing through the game, God of War, multiple different weapons, elements, combos. I mean, I love it.
It's really satisfying. I mean, you say God of War, but it's a fluid acrobatic.
Devil May Cry.
You're actually, yeah, exactly. You're actually like a young acrobat. Like she's in the circus.
Yeah.
So I mean, like she's got all this like she's very spry and just all over the place, and it's fun. It's very fun to play.
Yeah. Like it's a interesting one. Music wise.
Gorgeous.
I mean, I feel like it hits exactly where it needs to be from an Indian perspective, the music itself. Now, me being ugly American gamer, is it something that I listen to? No, but does it fit the game perfectly? Yes. And every piece is done masterfully. It is so good.
Yeah, so it gets another point there.
Absolutely, it does. And so that's the wild thing is like, it don't have to necessarily have to be our personal preference, but it has to fit all the pieces. And it's so good. Fun factor, replayability.
Fun factor, it's an excellent game, and there's there's a lot of upgrades to your abilities and your weapons as well.
Yes,
there's several weapons that you can
continue to upgrade and
through the game. So it's really good. It's really well paced. Replay, I think this is another one and done. I don't think I'd replay it, but I am looking forward to the sequel.
And I would say, because we put both of those categories at half point, I do bump it up to the A, because it's fun as hell. And fun is not the same as the gameplay. Is it a fun game to play?
Yeah.
And then you got your key art and anything special we've done with premium.
This is going to be an S tier game. I don't think I'm going to get an argument from you.
No. No, and
yet another S tier game that Premium's put out.
Dude, the artwork in the game, again, based off of the artwork in the game, the packaging art is awesome. The developers worked with us. They were very particular, but they worked with us to make sure everything looked perfect. And we did, inside the retro box, we have the little shadow puppets where the kids play with it, and it's actually part of the beginning of the game, the cutscenes. There's like the whole story is told with those. So we have those in physical items you can have. Did a whole art book with it, with a collector's edition, collector's box. I know you designed some of the flow of it. It looks like an old style, box with it.
And then I mean the artwork is so good that we have an art book a hardcover art book in that deluxe edition. So, if we can't give it a point for artwork, I don't know what we can.
Dude,
Yeah,
that is the crazy
it's
thing.
so good.
So yeah, dude, like it's an S tier,
Yeah,
title that we've
without
released.
question.
Out question. It's freaking crazy. So now, do we go over to the retroware games, or do you want to cover the other NES game we released at the same time?
Let's do the NES game first.
So the NES game is Bobby 6-7. Your time traveling detective, platformer, action style game.
Mm-hmm.
What do we go with the graphics of Bobby 6-7?
Again, it's an NES game, so you have to judge it against other NES games. I think that it gets a point.
Yeah, it's solid.
It's good. It's solid. Yeah.
The characters, you can view them. They look okay. They look good. From a gameplay perspective, going through, you got story in there. You got level by level time traveling through different eras in the game. I feel like it's very satisfying from a gameplay perspective to play.
I think it is too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun little game to play. Music wise.
Again, I think it gets another point because this was actually written, like the music was composed and written by actual musicians, and not that someone's not going to be a musician, that you know what I'm saying, like,
yeah,
they did a really good job.
Yeah. Fun factor replayability.
The story is silly and funny. I wouldn't go back and replay it just because, I know what happens now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd give it a full point for fun factor.
Just keep it
down.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I'd say it stays around that era. We jump into the key art and the items. The Thorvaldsen artwork that we did for the box, so good.
Gorgeous.
So good.
Gorgeous.
And that adds to the key art because the initial key art was drawn in pencil by someone that they used for the original release. And I was like, man, if we're going to sign it, we got to go over the top. And so for me, that adds that extra point to make it an A title.
Agreed.
Second NES game, second A title for NES. Pretty good track record there. And really fun. Okay. So we're going over to retroware now.
Yeah.
You want to do Love 3 or Eagle Island?
Let's do Love 3 first.
All right. So we do Love 3. So Love 3 was designed by and developed by Fred Wood. Fred Wood was part of, I want to say, Deltarune. He did
correct.
Some parts of Deltarune. And so this game is a pixel platformer, a heavy emphasis on some like techno music, and then this is a combination of all three Love games, some bonus stuff. So there's like tons and tons and tons of levels, but with an Atari style graphics. So what about graphics, Tristan?
I'm not going to give it a full point. Well, I don't want to knock it either. Like that's a hard one because it's so simplistic, but it pulls it off. It's pulling off exactly what it's trying to do.
Exactly.
What else are you gonna do? I mean, like it would feel out of place if it was any better, I guess.
Yeah,
because that's what he was going for.
That's exactly what he was going for. I feel like it's clean, very clean.
Yes,
very clean. And growing up with the Atari 2600 and Commodore, this feels like a Jumpman Junior style game.
Without the flickering.
Without the flickering. So very well done. Gameplay's tight.
Tight, super tight.
It is really tight.
Good. Yeah, and the fact that you can set your own checkpoints again is a great move.
Exactly. And you can set your checkpoints. So if you get to a spot where there's a lot of saw blades coming or something, you can make sure you set yourself up for success. And all it affects is your time. And it tracks everything at the end, but affects your time.
Music is excellent.
Freaking awesome music.
Yeah, what are you gonna put to an Atari style platformer? But it's techno and super catchy, and it's really good.
It's so good. It's freaking wild, dude. Fun factor replayability.
It's fun. But it's again, I go back to They Bleed Pixels, where it's a one and done. I'm not gonna play it again.
Yeah.
Unless but he did add modes where you could do speed running and stuff. So
there's tons.
Yeah. I mean, like there is replayability that he built into it. So not for me, but for other people, I could see them doing it.
Well, and if we were given a half a point with the graphics because it does what it's supposed to, we could give the fun factor a half a point to give
Yeah,
it that full
agreed.
point.
Agreed.
Because it does what it needs to. It's fun. Those that want to do stuff, they're gonna get a lot out of there. Like those that buy this game, they're gonna get a lot for their money.
Yeah.
But you may not want to keep playing it over and over and over again obsessively. And then you got your key art and your physical items.
I think the key art falls a little flat on this one.
It's all the
because
same.
There was one piece of key art. And then one thing that was like made for the retro box or the slipcase or something like that.
Yeah, and
slipcase, yeah.
This one, the developer is very particular and wasn't open to any suggestions or ideas. We had ideas, we had stuff we wanted to do with it, and he was like, "Nope, I want it this way." To the point
Which is
where
fine. It's his baby,
and I like the Master System style aesthetics they wanted.
Yeah, I love it. I love how that gold ended up looking. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I mean, very great presentation. But I wouldn't have used that key art over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing with premium is we don't like to repeat any key arts if we can avoid it. Unless we can give it a different aspect to it, different flavor. And so
I am very happy that he gave me a lot of leeway whenever it came to the manuals. He gave me a lot of like creative license, I guess you would call it. Because I think the manual, like we wanted to make it in the style of, Master System. That's what we were going for. And I think we achieved that.
Yeah.
I actually had him, I think 5'8" is the name of this character. I had my artist, Rachel, draw 5'8" in all sorts of different poses and in the manual. And it looks really good.
Yeah, I would have loved to use that for some of the packaging. So to me, this shows me though that this is a solid B title that we could have absolutely elevated. It's only hindered by the our inability. I guess that's a real word.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. To be creative with it, to push it over to that next threshold, because the game itself is great.
Oh yeah, no, he made an awesome game. It's great. Yeah, it's not my favorite out of the ones that we put out, just because we didn't have as much creative freedom as we have with other titles. But that's a preference thing, obviously. Like other people might look at it and say that it's way better than anything that we've designed. So it's up to I have the beholder,
Exactly. But we are the reviewer here. So let's go over to Eagle Island Twist, the other game with the digital publisher of Retroware. This one was designed by Pixelnix, developed by Pixelnix, and this one is almost like comes off like it would be a Metroidvania, but in reality, it's a procedurally generated platformer where you control a character throwing an eagle, which almost looks like an owl. And then there is another free DLC that's Eagle Island Twist that gives you a whole overworld Mario 3 style with handcrafted levels, and you play with a different character, the female character with her eagle. And then you have different types of like almost like speed running on that one, where you try to do as good as you can to complete each level by level, like Mario style almost.
Yeah, every level has its own gimmick.
Yes.
And it makes it really fresh and fun throughout the entire experience.
Exactly. So, graphics.
Graphics are amazing.
I feel like the graphics look so good.
I love it.
Super Nintendo feel, modernized pixel that could have been on a 32-bit. Could have been on a 32-bit system. It's so good. Then you got your gameplay.
Gameplay is super tight. Amazing controls. You think that throwing your bird as the weapon and like doing puzzles and stuff might sound awkward, but as soon as you like pick it up and play it, it's very intuitive and it works. And
exactly. So good. And then you get different eagles as you beat bosses. You get different eagles that do different elements and different attacks too, which are fun. Music itself is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know if I'd give it personally a full point. just because like it's not like anything crazy, but it does like fit. It's kind of like ambiance music that like Donkey Kong Country like did,
Yeah.
like the minecart level or something like that. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I wouldn't like put on the soundtrack myself and listen to it, but it works for the game.
I say we bump it up, knowing that it's about a half.
Yeah,
It's definitely bumped up to the B with the music, but it's
for
not
sure.
like stellar.
Yeah.
We go to fun factor replayability. I feel like game is absolutely fun as hell to play.
Incredibly fun.
Fun
And
as hell to play.
I obviously, you've got the two different games. You've got Eagle Island and Eagle Island Twist. Eagle Island's different every time you play it, and Eagle Island Twist, even though it's like a curated thing, and once you've played through all the levels, you know what to expect, but they're that good that you want to play them again.
Exactly. I feel like it's awesome. Then we go to the key art and anything we've done premium with this. What are your thoughts
Mhm.
on that?
The key art was a little bit lacking as far as like stuff that they gave us, but we were
Yes.
able to supplement that with stuff that we did, being creative with what we were given, and then our own artists.
Yeah. And I know
And
using our own artists, there was a hiccup with some stuff because the developer wasn't in contact with us initially. So when he was brought on
mhm,
board, he had some changes last minute and stuff was missed and craziness. And nobody's going to
yeah,
even notice where the issue is except for like us. But like nobody noticed, but it's there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I would say we give it that half point, which keeps it at the A, unless you feel like it bumps it up into an S tier.
What did we do for the special edition? We had the soundtrack. We had the freaking field guide that the printer messed up.
The field guide too.
Honestly, dude, like I really feel like it's deserving of being an S title.
Yeah.
Eagle Island Twist, yes.
Well, here's the thing, and I can argue that by looking at the artwork on the retro box, the one and who was the artist on that? That was your one friend again,
Rachel
right?
Rice,
That
yeah.
was Rachel. Is like Secret of Mana style mastery.
Yeah, which is what the publisher wanted us to do.
So
The digital publisher, excuse me.
I feel like Eagle Island is an S tier.
I believe so.
I feel
Maybe a
like
low S tier, but it gets there for sure.
it's there. It pops it right up. It might be A plus, might be, but it's there. It squeaks
It's
right in.
It's honestly one of our sleeper hits. Like,
It is.
if people haven't heard of this game, please check it out. It's so good.
Well,
I'm not
this
exaggerating.
you got to think about it too. Is like this series on is when we're getting to more nowadays where people aren't hardcore, crazy, obsessively collecting for the Switch anymore. So some of
Yeah.
these titles, like we still have copies because it's just the way that the collecting zeitgeist is going in the current times. So we still got copies of Eagle Island Twist. Y'all need to get this game. It's
Out of
so
Series 5, it was my favorite one that we released. By
good.
far.
Yeah, that and Raji, I was back and forth between.
You're right.
But
Yeah, I already forgot that Raji was in the same series. They're a tie. They're a tie.
Solid. And you got to think about it from a Switch perspective, now with the NES game. From a Switch perspective, we had 2 S tier titles, 1 A title, and 1 B title. That is solid series.
Yeah,
And
that
we
was
had
a good
4.
series.
And then you had Bobby in there, which is another A title. So we had a really good year there for premium. Freaking wild, man. Now we're getting over here to more uncharted territory, whereas we got games that we have like physical items in production, but not mailed. I would say our next one probably would be Wife Quest.
Yeah.
Wife Quest. Because Wife Quest should be shipping soon. Like it's
very soon. Like I think we have like all the parts.
It's all in
So,
production, and we just got to get it shipped to us so we can ship them out to pre-orders.
Yeah.
So Wife Quest is a solid action platformer. With cutesy anime girls with big boobs.
Yeah, like chibi graphics.
Chibi graphics. So what do you think from graphic perspective?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's anime.
I feel like it looks really cool. The pixel graphics look awesome. And I do enjoy
and the
it.
environments are really cool.
What about gameplay?
Gameplay, I'm not going to give it a full point because just something about it like feels a little bit
off,
stiff.
a little bit
th-
stiff.
it's not. It doesn't detract from like how the game is incredibly balanced. It's
Mhm.
really, really balanced, and it shows like if you play through the game, like whenever I beat the game to like make the manual, I was just barely beating the bosses, so the balance is like really good throughout.
Well, and I think if you
Um,
combine this with fun factor replayability, I would give it a point.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
with both
Mhm.
that's potential of 2 points. They get to 1 because the fun factor is really fun to play. It does feel like the gameplay is a bit lacking. I don't know if it's just the way, maybe it's not enough animation, maybe it's not enough, maybe it's just a hair off on, needs to be tuned a little, but it's right there.
Yeah, I mean, like, there have been studies and like YouTube videos just on the physics of Super Mario Brothers and the jumping and like how it feels just right. And that took a while for them to get like the gravity of Mario's jump it had to feel just right before they were satisfied with it. Now, the gravity of like the jumping in this game isn't as complicated or as satisfying as like a Mario game.
Yes.
And I think that's where like it kind of feels off to me as a platformer.
But the boss fights in it from a Metroidvania perspective are satisfying and fun. They're
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
super spammy. So I mean,
No.
I would say that combined with it being fun to play, gives it 1 full point.
Sure.
Music.
Music is good, but again, I wouldn't give it a full point just on
Yeah,
music alone.
not super
A
memorable,
little
but
repetitive.
little repetitive. Agreed. And then you talk about like what we've done with it and art and everything.
Art's great. We
Art's
got a lot
great.
of artwork to work with. We did, again, like reach out to Rachel Rice to do a piece, and then can't remember
Mhm.
what else we did, to be honest.
Well, and the thing is that you did a guide,
Yeah.
little guide with it. And then we got we got the CD with it with again. So I think it's a solid B title.
Yeah, it's a B title for sure.
For Wife Quest.
Yeah.
It's cool, it's fun. And it is a solid game. And
Yeah.
anything here's the thing is like S tier titles are like amazing. A tier
Mhm.
titles are great. B tier titles are good. They're good games. It's a good game. C are okay.
Mhm.
That's kind of how it works. But yeah, so Wife Quest is a solid game, worth picking up if you haven't yet. Absolutely. And moving on to the other game from that series, Super Dungeon Maker.
Mhm.
My goodness. This one was an interesting one and still is an interesting one
Yeah.
as we are going through. So with Super Dungeon Maker, this is a Zelda maker. Make
Yeah.
your own Zelda dungeons. Really crazy. So what do you think from a graphic perspective?
It's good. Yeah, it's supposed to look like Link to the Past, and it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the graphics do it well. And adding in extra stuff because there's new content with premium. We decided to do it before it went up for sale, do pre-orders in conjunction with the launch, and then they're still adding content, so we wanted to make sure it was as complete on cart as possible. So they added new content to it now, the new balancing. Gameplay
Gameplay's
so
great. I mean, it is what you make of it. It's a very solid engine to work with. Just like
mhm.
Mario Maker, it gives you all of the pieces in order to kind of like put down on paper what's in your brain, and it gives you enough of that. I would argue that maybe maybe I want a little bit more because I think there's Steam release has more than the Switch release.
um
Uh,
Well, the only thing that it has on it is touchscreen controls, which the Switch is touchscreen. If
mhm.
we could, because we know with the Steam release, you can use a mouse and a keyboard and a mouse,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that makes it very easy to design. It's still easy to design on the Nintendo Switch. It's just, man, if I could just drag and drop stuff real quick with my finger,
Yeah.
it would just make it a little quicker. And this
Mhm.
other piece is, and this goes into where I'm gonna. I mean, it definitely gets a point for it. Where I would also give it a second point. The replayability and fun factor.
Oh yeah, that's infinite.
It's
Yeah,
untapped. It's
yeah.
untapped because once people start investing into making levels, you can literally play infinite levels. I don't make levels in Super Mario Maker 2. I go and play community levels all the time and love it. That's what my plan is with Super Dungeon Maker on the Switch version. And I just hope that it gets a lot of support from the community to have a bunch of fun levels for us to play.
Because what is there, like they had one of their backer tiers, because this was a Kickstarter backed game. One of their backer tiers was for people to be able to have their dungeon enshrined in the game. So there's like a shrine part of the game where you go in and you can play those people's levels that pledge that Kickstarter tier, and they're really good. So you can see what can be done with the levels, and then all the stuff that you download from the community, it's all different, and it just adds infinite replayability as long as it's supported.
Yeah. I mean, because the one thing you're going to miss with a Super Dungeon Maker, which isn't the mentality of it, is the overarching world that you're going to have from a Legend of Zelda game. I mean, you don't have the overarching overworld. It's just the dungeon-based combats.
Yep.
So being able to do it infinitely is awesome. It's fun. It's great. Music.
Nothing to write home about. I'm not going to give it a point for music.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe a half.
There. It's
maybe
there.
a half. It's not going to bump it up, but the music's there. They played it very safe. I'll say that with the music. Yeah. They didn't go and get it crazy over the top. Now, what about from a key art perspective and physical packaging that we're doing with Premium?
There wasn't a whole lot of key art. Let me actually look at it.
And we got Paul Niemeyer to do an artwork for it, based off the DLC, because they released a knight as the second character, so we got to have fun with that. And then we had a lot of Zelda-themed art pieces, so our retro box kind of looks like Legend of Zelda with a little bit of blue background. We're gonna have a lot of golds in it with Legend of Zelda style artwork for our, I want to say like the retro or the slipcase is going to have a really cool piece to it as well.
Yeah. So between that and the special treatment that we're giving it, we could bump it up to an A, but I'd be fine with a B+ or an A-. Honestly, I'm on the fence.
I don't know, man, because it's still untapped too, because we haven't published it, so we could still we still got some treats that we're putting in there that we could potentially bump it up. And we're gonna, I mean, there's gonna be some foliage going on there. And of course, looking at it, I mean, I assume you're in Trello checking out the art.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, let me go in there too, because I know that I had planned, because this is one of those titles where we were trying out other designers and we weren't as hands-on with these ones, but I like Paul Niemeyer's artwork that we had done with the knight. I might do a gold background though, instead of a blue background. But it is very solid. It's slick. It's very clean. I'll tell you that much. It's very clean. But we had redone some of this since we promoted it too. So, let me think. Infinite Zelda, some cool art. I would say I'm comfortable putting it as an A.
Yeah, me too.
I'm comfortable putting it as an A title. Just because I think it does. And honestly, we have time. If we're gonna bump it up, we're gonna make it up there. We're gonna make sure it's an A title. Yeah. That's where we're into that now. Part of the ranking is that we have inputs now into making them better too. And then as we get to games that are unreleased or we haven't worked on any art pieces for it yet, then we will go strictly off of what we have and what we plan to do. All right, so that is those two games. We still have Oratorio, right? Oratorio on the NES, which is by John V. This game is an NES game, kind of like Rez for the Dreamcast, which is like a music-based 3D action game. 3D effects look very similar to like a 3D World Runner on the NES.
Yeah.
Or Space Harrier. What about graphics?
Graphics are pretty minimalist.
Yep.
I don't think that's where like they don't shine because that's not really where the emphasis is on the game.
Nope.
Yeah.
Gameplay though?
Gameplay's great. Yeah,
Gameplay is
absolutely.
great. So
Solid.
that's where it gets its first point is off of the
Mhm.
gameplay. Because the gameplay goes to the music and it is wild. It's a wild thing.
And gameplay and music go hand in hand. So I would give another point for music. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, the music is great. When it comes to replayability and fun factor, I would say I don't know if I get a full point for the replayability and fun factor because it's like
I don't think I would either. It's
fun to play once.
Yeah, it's fun to play once, and it's a bit grindy just because it's so long.
Yeah.
But again, it hasn't been done before. This is a very unique title.
And this game is in assembly, so it should be shipping soon. Everything is produced. It's with our team. They're working on them. The artwork itself looks awesome.
Yeah.
I like the painting that was done for the box.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I feel like it is a solid B title.
I agree.
Yeah, solid B title. All right. So what are we off to next, Tristan?
Oh, I think
We're off to Series 7. We're off to Series 7 now.
Sunshine.
Yeah, we're bumping it back to Sunshine Anthology, which technically was a game we signed in 2020. We were part of the Kickstarter, and this is something to keep in mind. This Kickstarter that we're a part of in 2024. This took 4 years for us to get it, from Kickstarter to physical, and the physical is still in various parts of production because we can't even do the physical yet because we're waiting on lot check stuff.
Yeah.
So Sunshine Anthology is 2 games, Camp Sunshine and Sunshine Manor, both over the top, like not action, more exploration games. Like puzzle exploration style horror based titles with lots of aesthetics in it. So from a graphic perspective, I feel like 16-bit looks so damn cool. So damn
great.
Cool.
Both of them are great.
So damn cool. And the fact that we're doing a double pack in the same canon is cool. Gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, like the gameplay in both of them, it's basically like it's a lot of fetch quest. But the in between fetching and giving it to who you're fetching it for, it's really good. Story's really good, so I'm giving it a point for gameplay as well.
Oh, for sure. It is a solid, fun experience when it comes to it. What about when we're talking about the music in the game?
There's not a whole lot of music in Camp Sunshine, so I have to defer to Sunshine Manor when it comes to music, which is awesome.
It's a banger.
Awesome. It's good.
Yeah. And the fact is this is both games. The original Camp Sunshine was not created to be ported to modern systems. So it was like one of those where, we wanted it, the developers making it happen. And it is a really, really great from a musical perspective.
Yeah, it's awesome.
There we go. So now when we're coming from a replayability and fun factor, I feel like, this game is probably a one and done.
Yeah, they're both a one and done.
They're both a one and done. They're cool. They're fun to play, but that goes into more to the gameplay makes it good, not necessarily something that's going to be you're going to go back to a million times.
Yeah, not everyone's into fetch quest, so I wouldn't really call it fun. It is a fun game because like both of the stories that you progress through are good.
Well, but I would almost say this is more of like almost like a casual game, more like it's walking
like an experience game. Yeah,
like a walking simulator.
We had
a horror style walking simulator, but it's not casual because you're stressed the whole time. Yeah. Like it's trying to avoid the killer teddy bear in Camp Sunshine, and then you get a little bit of ways to avoid the enemy and manner.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to key art and what we've done with it, I mean, literally having Graham Humphreys, horror icon, do art pieces for this, doing a physical guide, which you're doing, which is going to be two-sided, using Graham Humphreys art. I mean, this is like absolutely a point. Like we're
Absolutely
doing the bells and
it's
whistles.
A tier.
And it's going to be complicated because there were Kickstarter exclusive stuff that we've done that are going to create a little bit of FOMO with this because there's only stuff from a Kickstarter from 5 years ago.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Like, and so there's gonna be unique stuff with this release that, you know, like we will have extra copies, so we should have some for sale. And because the collector market isn't as rabid, it should be okay. I hope for y'all. But yeah, this is gonna be a unique one. Like
This will be an awesome one to have physical for sure.
Oh yeah. And I mean, we're doing the full deluxe treatment with it and steelbook and everything. So this is a really cool one. So it's an A title.
Really, really good.
It's an A release.
Absolutely.
Sunshine. Love it. All right, so we moving over to Anichard next.
Yeah.
So Anichard, Zelda style game where he plays a bell wielder. Really, really fun game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm bringing up some of the art pieces and everything. So when it comes to graphics,
it's got a very unique style, but it's very like artistic.
Very artistic, very bright.
Mm-hmm.
I like it personally.
I like it too. I do.
I love it. And when it comes to like gameplay, the gameplay itself is tight as hell. The story adds right with it. It's so freaking good, man.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Got the music.
Music is good too, but I'm not going to give it a full point, just personally.
It's there, right?
Like yeah, it's atmospheric.
It's good, but not memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Good, but not memorable would be the key with that. Fun replayability. I feel like it's absolutely fun. And
super fun.
Like this is a really, really solid title that I will always be coming back to. Really fun one. And then what we're doing with it from a premium edition perspective with key art, there's so many awesome art pieces for this game. The art is awesome. I mean, you're doing a damn cookbook with it because you cook in the game. The Super Nintendo style retro box looks great. I mean, because it's Zelda Link to the Past style. And then the different key arts that we use, like there's so many varied pieces. I mean,
it's really good. So I'd give that an A tier as well.
That's an A tier title.
A for Anichard.
A for Anichard. That is wild. Next one we're jumping over to is A Lonesome Village. So Lonesome Village is a casual style game. Almost kind of like an Animal Crossing to aesthetic, but without any of the building perspective. So you kind of go through the story. Kind of just go through a story, and it's a casual experience.
Yeah, it's more story, less building.
Exactly. Graphics, I think the graphics are cute.
Great. Yeah, cute. Very memorable.
Clean. Very clean.
I mean, like, honestly, the graphics kind of sell the game to a lot of people.
And this game was programmed by a team in Mexico. So this is like this is the first one that we've worked with that's a Mexican team, and they're awesome. They're so passionate and they're really talented. Gameplay.
Excellent. Yeah. Really well balanced. The progression, you do puzzles, you interact with villagers, you do fetch quests, and then I mean it's just a mixture of that stuff, and you just rinse repeat until you're done with the game.
Exactly. It's a really cool experience. What about music?
I have to think about that. It's not really memorable.
I feel like the music is very ambiance.
Yeah, that too.
It's very ambiance, so I'm not gonna bust it up a point. Fun factor replayability.
I think it's fun. I think it's another one and done title. Just because, I mean, like, yeah, how many times can you replay the same puzzle, right?
I would say we give her half a point.
Okay.
Half a point. If we add that combined with what we've done for it with premium. Because for me with premium, like we're able to do some fun stuff with it, but a lot of the art that we have, they're all very not samey, but it's like character with the tower in the distance, character with the tower up front, character with the
Yeah.
tower with the glass, character with the tower and other characters with the glass. Like every single one has that tower, and it's called Lonesome Village. I love that we're doing like a little mini comic with it, but I also like your design on the soundtrack. It's really cool. But again, like we're doing as much as we possibly can with this sucker. We're trying to stretch it out. So I mean, I think this is a solid B title.
Yeah.
I think this is a solid B title. Not quite up in the A tier. If we had a little bit better music, a little bit more, varied gameplay, we would be in the A to S. But yeah, freaking wild though, man. Wild. So before we move on to the next series, we got some PlayStation to talk about, Tristan.
Oh gosh, I forgot about PlayStation.
Aha. But in reality, we just have Music Racer to talk
Yeah.
about. So Music Racer is our only exclusive because the other two we have are our C tier Rack and Ruin and our S tier Phoenotopia Awakening as part of the first series of PlayStation. But Music Racer is the ultimate version, is what we released on PlayStation as the third special release for it. For the graphics, Tristan.
It's very, I mean, graphically, like it's a psychedelic trip. Like, take some mushrooms and play the game, and you'll enjoy yourself.
It's okay. It's just neons. I give it a half point.
Yeah.
It's on the board, Tristan. It's on the board. It's on the board.
Yeah, it's on the board.
It's on the board. Gameplay.
Gameplay falls very flat for me.
I am not a fan.
Not a fan either.
Not a fan of the gameplay. What about music?
Music's great.
Music is okay. The fact that you can add your own music to it bumps it up for sure.
It's a little bit convoluted the way that you have to do it, but it gives you the option to add your own music. Yes.
And so adding that to replayability, I think I give it 1 point for both because you can add your own music. Yeah.
So we're in the C.
We're in the C. And then for our physical packaging, I mean, it's literally screenshots.
It's screenshots. That's it. There's nothing special.
And we weren't really given the leeway to do anything else with it. There wasn't really much more to do with it. So yeah, this is a C title.
I think it's barely a C.
Barely a C. It might even be a D.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess with our grading criteria, if the music is pretty damn good.
It is good. The music is good. I mean, like, honestly, if you're like high, I don't do this stuff, but if you're high, or if you do shrooms, or if you're on acid, you'll have a great time with this game. But I'm not on either of those things, any of those things, so I didn't have a good time.
And then, so if the music and replayability give it 1 point, do the graphics give it that extra point to bump it up to a C, or does it stay down?
Let's keep it down. Sorry,
Music Racer. I say we keep it down, man. I mean,
sorry, Music Racer.
Because I wouldn't put it at the same level as a Rack and Ruin.
Absolutely not.
Or
no, not even close.
Nope. So there we go, man. Our first D title for premium. Should we have signed it? Probably not. But the promise of having infinite music and infinite levels. There's just, if there was a damn story mode or something, some kind of franchise mode, like, and it wasn't just you just play the game, because you just play the level and then you just play the level and you play a new level. There's not even a score, really, a leaderboard, online leaderboards, nothing. There's no extra piece to it outside just playing the game. It'd be like playing Super Blood Hockey with no franchise mode. You just play the hockey game.
Yeah,
like, it'd be nothing to it, man. Let's see. So do we go into the next series 8 titles, or do we go to the Kickstarter because we did have a game called Poglings.
Yeah, Poglings. Yeah, let's go
Let's do
Poglings.
Poglings.
I think we should jump around from now on.
Yeah. So Poglings is a Kickstarter game developed in association with Chad Tronick, the YouTuber. So it's be like the Chow Garden, but a full game around it, and still adding more and more content to this day. So I would say from here on out, like these, it's gonna be not a little bit different the scoring, but we can literally it's like what we plan to do with stuff. So
Yeah,
it's a little different.
And you know, wherever it lands, take it with a grain of salt. So
well, it could go up, or down. So graphics.
Graphics are great.
Freaking beautiful.
Yeah,
the graphics are beautiful right now. So the gameplay for Poglings, as it currently stands.
As it currently stands, it looks like there's racing, there's like, you know, leveling up your Poglings and turning them into different stuff, and there's some like farming elements and stuff like
Very
that. So I think there's enough. Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of what Chow Gardens was, right? So
Exactly.
there's enough of gameplay to. I'm giving it a half point for gameplay right now.
I think it's enough
the way
to
it's
bump it.
fleshed out.
It's enough to bump it, but it's not a full point, because and I would almost say with the music, we're in the same boat. Like the music hasn't been fully designed. I know there's some plans to use some legendary composers.
Yeah.
So so I would say we're giving it that C right now. And that includes then replayability. Like we can't bump it up yet because we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I fully expect to be able to give it a full point for fun factor replayability, just because of what it is.
And we will bump it up. We'll bump it up to a B, because we fully expect that it will be infinitely playable, with the breeding, all the extra stuff with it. And then what we're doing with it from a premium perspective, with all the different art pieces.
You know, we're not going to say that we're not going to do a good job. So we are going to do a good job, and it is going to get bumped up to at least an A.
And I mean, working with Chad Tronick, he has artists on board. There's tons and tons of key art and stuff to work with. This one's going to be a dream to work with. And it's not that we're never going to plan to do something or whatever. It's whether we can or not. And with this one, like, Chad's awesome. Like he is 100% great to work with, and we will make sure that this is an epic release. A title. I agree that Poglings is anticipated. When we signed it, it was an A title. Potentially was an S title, and it really is potentially an S title if once it's finished with the gameplay. With the gameplay,
yeah,
and the music.
Exactly. We don't know where it's going to land as far as like how much is in content wise. So
and
it
so
really could be an S title.
That's one of those things that when we note it, and actually I'm going to put in here Poglings. And I'm going to put in there when we redo this episode in the future, we'll revisit with new games. We'll have to see if any games changed. Because of it. All right, so here's the tier list. Poglings now has been finished. Has it bumped up? Did it bump down? Because you never know. Because sometimes when games come out, sometimes they're not great. Sometimes they are great. However, I have every inkling that they're going to do their best to make sure it's an amazing game. So
yeah, for sure.
We shall see. All right. So where do you want to bump to next?
Let's go with Jim and Dill's.
Jim and Dill's. All right. So Jim and Dill are two different games, and they definitely get two different releases. They're both NES releases by the same developer as Bobby 6-7. So the first one, Jim and Dill 1, which is The Legend of Weed and Stiff, is a Zelda style game. It's an action adventure game on the NES. So graphics.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to knock the graphics.
Nope.
Yeah, they're good.
Yep. I think that the graphics are very, very doable for what they are. Right. And we're going to start seeing little images to upload more images as we go there, because it'll keep the little space on our screen. All right, so we go over to gameplay. Zelda style.
Yeah, it's great. It's a Zelda style, and like there's a whole lot of NPCs that add flavor to the game.
Comedy in
Hmm.
this game
Yeah,
is
which
really,
which is
really cool.
also bleeds into fun factor, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. So fun factor replayability. I feel like that does give it a point.
Yeah,
Does? What about music?
music's great.
The music's great too.
I mean, it's centered around a band. We can't not give it a point for music.
Yeah. So the music's cool. Now the question is that with the artwork and everything, I feel like it's okay. Not enough to bump
Yeah,
it up a point,
yeah,
but
no, no,
it's
no, I don't think
cool.
so.
I had to get real
And
creative with it.
yeah, and where I would knock even some of the stuff that they gave us, like they used a lot of like AI generated artwork, but
Yeah.
whatever. They're not
Yeah.
artists; they're musicians, right?
Exactly. So I mean it's an A title.
Hmm.
Zelda style game.
Yeah. Yep.
Now when we're looking at Jim and Dale 2, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I'm gonna put it as an A title as well,
Really?
because yeah, it's a completely different. Um, well,
So my
okay,
thing
I
is,
want to hear your thoughts first.
so it is a different genre. Now it's a beat 'em up.
Hmm.
And I feel like the graphics are not as good.
Yeah,
I don't like the
yeah,
graphics.
I thought that's where you were gonna go, and the gameplay is not as good as it could be.
And the gameplay is not as good as it could be. So that's 2 points it's off.
Yeah, you're
Um,
right.
the music's still solid.
Hmm.
It's still fun to play. Still very
Yeah,
fun to play. And our graphics. So it is a B title.
yeah, I'll call it a B title as well.
I have it as a B, not
I agree with you.
yeah, it's not quite at the level of the devil. It's not quite up there. Yeah, because again, it's the same thing with the graphic or with the packaging. It might be a C title, if you're thinking about it, because if it's missing in the graphics and the gameplay department, but it's a fun game and the music's good.
Yeah, maybe it
And
is a C title then.
I feel like it's probably a C
Yeah,
title,
we'll call it C.
honestly. But Jim and Dale 1 is an A title. So that's what's
Hmm.
crazy. And so we signed both together. There is a Jim and Dale 3 that Premium is not publishing. They're going with another company with their, I don't know if it's a Kickstarter or whatever they're doing. It's doing really well. So I think it's another different genre.
Oh,
But
maybe it's a
yeah.
puzzle game. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's a puzzle game. I don't know. Hopefully it's not the beat 'em up. Hopefully it's more Zelda style. And it's an A tier for them.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there's Jim and Dale. That's probably our lowest tier of an NES game. I mean, as we're ranking them right now that we've signed so far. And we do have games that are not on the list that we're covering today that we have signed that we haven't announced. If we haven't announced it, we're not talking about it.
Nope.
So we can either jump into Series 7, which I feel like is probably what we should do.
Okay.
Or actually Series 8, my bad. Series 8. Which we go over to Tadpole Treble Encore.
Yeah.
So Tadpole Treble is a music-based rhythm game. Where he plays a tadpole going up and down the sea as the music notes come at you. So it's a cutesy game. Very cutesy, very casual game. What about the graphics?
Graphics are good.
Freaking look good. They're so freaking fun. Now, what about when it comes to the gameplay itself?
I'm going to combine gameplay and music for this one because they're kind of the same thing. The gameplay is the music, and it's funny music. But also like, it's you like traveling on the music scale.
Yeah.
So a full point for both gameplay and music, combined
Yeah.
for those two.
Now when it comes to fun, this game is absolutely a blast to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Replayability, trying to do better. I've replayed levels, and I've actually played it with we've had team when I was in Georgia. I had the team where I Josh over, and we played the shit out of the game. It's so fun. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that bumps it up for sure to the B tier. Now, physical packaging, artwork, all that stuff. I feel like that's a very hard thing because the game looks cute, but it's gonna be very hard to to quantify, right? Like,
From we didn't work on all of the artwork pieces, and from what
no.
we are going to do, I don't like them the best. That's just me. So I don't think I'm going to bump it up to an A title.
Mm-mm.
That's
Now,
just
like,
that's how I
the,
feel about it anyway.
and even like we have the Super Nintendo style graphics, but it's using literally the key art.
Yeah.
And there's different key art that's done for the insert and the slipcase. And they look cool and they look cute. They just don't, and it's there, but it doesn't like take it over the top, if that makes sense.
Not to me.
Yeah, it's just not quite there. So a B title, I think it's a solid B. I like it. I like it
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we go to the next game on there, which is Scarlet Tower.
Hell yeah.
Scarlet Tower. So spiritual successor, inspired based off of the Vampire Survivor game, which I call them dodge 'em ups. I don't know what they actually the genre is called now. It's more action based games. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it has RPG aesthetics. So just think about like if you took Vampire Survivors and it could go on and you continue it, but now there's boss fights. And they are doing DLC that they just actually are publishing on the Steam version that will go onto our physical that have more bosses and more characters and more items and more art and more pieces. It's just insane.
Crazy.
So graphics,
Excellent.
freaking amazing graphics on Scarlet Tower. Like the graphics look so cool. The gameplay is addicting. Like it is so fun to play. It's so satisfying to attack the enemies and just carve through waves at enemies, to pull off the right dodge so you can avoid taking damage, because you can dodge in this game too, which you cannot do in Vampire Survivors. You can do a little dash to get out of the way, which is super cool. I like how you can rack and stack different powers and do all the different things. Music.
Excellent.
Music is excellent. A little bit repetitive.
A little bit. I could say repetitive. Yeah. So half a point for that, I would say.
I'll give her a half a point, but it's still a little bit repetitive. But fun factor, replayability, man.
Oh, off the charts.
Freaking infinite, dude. Like it is so good. Now we add in here what we're doing with the physical. Now some of the stuff that we published for the pre-orders versus what we're doing, the developer has created some new artwork that they're redoing. The newer graphics look cool. I might actually prefer the original art, the one that's on this key art that's here, versus the newer stuff. The newer stuff's almost more like girl anime. Like versus Yaoi, I think is what it's called, versus like cool anime. Now, as long as they keep my damn retro box that I designed, because that damn retro box with the tower that going really up, it is so cool. I mean, now the question is everything so cool that we're jumping it? Because there's going to be a mini comic with this sucker too.
This has the potential to be an S title.
I think it's.
But let's not jump it yet, though. Should we put it in S and like dock it down if it doesn't measure up, or should we put it in A and bump it up if it does?
Ooh, I don't know. What do you think?
It feels like it's going to be an S title to me.
Let's make it an S title. Let's make it an S title.
S for Scarlet.
And if we're going to be on the fence with some of this artwork for like retail inserts and stuff, like we'll talk with the developer and we'll make sure that it kicks ass. Like we need to make sure it kicks ass. And maybe I take that key art and that becomes the new slipcase. So the slipcase I designed, I actually had to create from scratch because there was no extra key art. So I had to create stuff while we were waiting for the developers. But it's still in progress. So we still have opportunities to make sure it really pops. And I want to make sure that the outward key art, for the retail, the slipcase looks awesome. And it's gonna be cool. It's an S. It's an S.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think so.
Gordian Quest, Tristan.
Gordian Quest. Here's a polarizing one.
Yeah, so Gordian Quest is an interesting one because it's not my genre, but for not being my genre, it was probably like enveloped me the most that it ever had. So what it is it's a card-based RPG style game.
Yeah.
Deck building. But it's more so like turn-based, but then use the cards as like modifiers. So it's like super fun. Really solid game. But where does it stack? So what about the graphics, Tristan?
Graphics are great.
Yeah, they
I
look
wouldn't knock them at
very,
all.
very polished, very good looking game. Lots of characters, lots of design work. The cards look cool as shit. Gameplay.
Gameplay is where it shines.
It is such a well polished, well balanced game as you play it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, so good. I enjoyed every ounce of playing the game. And usually when I'm playing these card games, that gives me anxiety because I don't want to use them because I want to lose them.
Yeah.
You get so many in this game that it's worth using them. It makes you want to play it. It makes you want to do it. It's just really, really freaking cool. We talk about music.
Music is just there.
It's there. Exactly. The music is there. What about our fun factor replayability?
Pretty much off the charts because like you have different characters and different decks for those characters. So there's so many different ways to play this game.
It's like infinite applicability here. Now what about the key arts / what we can do with it?
I think we're gonna bump that up another one into the A. I mean, like the key art that is there is really well done. I can see us like, probably going outside of like what they've given us to like make something pretty cool. But like,
well, because I'm looking at like the design work that I even did on things, and the characters on the retro box look freaking cool because they're all waiting to go battle. It looks great.
It's awesome artwork. Seriously.
And then my slipcase, I used like one of the bosses, and it's like a big boss piece for Gordian Quest.
Yeah, and soundtrack and manuals so far are just like some backgrounds that I found and just very minimal. But I could see like commissioning some pieces of art for that.
And I agree. Gordian is an A-tier game. It is excellent. It is excellent. If it had more memorable music, it would be S. Yeah. See, that's what's crazy is being able to quantify things the way that we are. We can kind of clearly see where things are from a grade level perspective, which is really cool. And this is kind of how I've been looking at all new games that we're testing now, is with this lens. I'm like, all right, so where's this going to go?
Yeah.
So very interesting. All right. So does that cover Series 8?
I don't know if you want to count Atomic Owl. Well, yeah, it's not Series 8, but it was around the same time.
So now we jump over
the
to
Kickstarters.
We got what, 3 Kickstarters?
Yeah.
We got 3 Kickstarters. And then we got 4 games, but I think we haven't announced one of them. Right? So we're looking at Series 9. We got 3 titles down here that we're going to talk about, but we have not announced because we're going to have 4 games.
Yeah.
We have not announced the 4th game.
Yeah.
But the 4th game is stellar. So it's just really good. We're going to throw in there a little treat for those of you that stayed in with us on this 3-hour freaking podcast. All right. So you want to move over to Atomic Owl?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do Atomic Owl. What do you think about the graphics with Atomic Owl?
Very stylish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's freaking like neon cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, Atomic Owl just looks like a really, really fun, cool game.
Yeah.
We're talking gameplay now? From what
gameplay, gameplay from what I've seen, I haven't played the game yet. But from what I've seen, there's a lot of varied weapons and ways of approaching the platforming. So it looks like it's really well balanced, and it looks like an enjoyable experience. I hope that comes true.
Looks like it's going to be addicting. What about music?
Music seems good, but I can't give it any points like solidly because, we're going to have to play the game first.
Yeah, and we will assume that it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So I think combined we can give that a B.
Sure.
And then right now there's like 1 to 2 pieces of key art, so we're gonna have to get creative. But I mean, we have every anticipation of making it an A.
Yeah, so I feel it's gonna be A.
Because that's gonna be us. Like there's a lot we can do with this game. It looks really cool. So yeah, I agree with that one. We got Crystalla next.
Oh yeah,
Crystalla, which is going to be PlayStation 5 only. And that's our cat game. The cat souls, right? Cat dad.
Souls, yep. Cat souls.
Graphics look amazing. So I mean, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, graphics look amazing. The gameplay, I've played the demo. Have you played the demo?
I have not, but the gameplay looks great.
Oh yeah, the demo plays solid, and they're adding so much more. This game's gonna be huge. The game's gonna be huge. So I have no doubt that and then you add in, I would give it another point for replayability because I anticipate the game's gonna be huge.
Yeah, but I think I don't think the music is gonna be its strong point. I think it's just gonna be there and functional.
Nope. And then of course we're gonna go crazy with the packaging. So I mean, I feel like it does fit into the A title.
Yeah.
Like everything that we're taking to Kickstarter, it should be an A. Like
absolutely.
Like now, if any of these, if the music surprises us, like bump, like that's going to be like all the Kickstarter ones they could potentially bump up.
Yeah.
God Shard.
Oh yeah.
God Shard.
My gosh, graphics. Yeah, great.
Oh my God. Like this game is like, I don't know. Like if we could have published this on the Super Nintendo, it would have been a masterpiece back in the day. And
I mean, we're gonna go over all these, but this has the potential to be S tier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you got the graphics, you got the gameplay.
Yeah, you've got a graphic pedigree, you've got a gameplay pedigree, you've got a music pedigree, you've got artwork pedigree,
and fun factor.
Yeah, and fun factor. So there's no reason to believe that this isn't going to be an amazing game.
Like this could be up there with the best releases that we've done. It definitely feels like it's an S tier, up in the best that we've released. 100%, man. Like it is so cool. And those are our Kickstarter ones. Like we're hand picking Kickstarters that are A and S tier titles. Every single Kickstarter that we have, from Sunshine Manor that we supported, to Poglings, to Atomic Isle, to Crystalla, to God Shard Chronicles, all of them are A or S tier games. Like excellent titles. So if we do any in the future, I mean, it'd be the same deal. Like we anticipate that they'll at least be an A. Now we will revisit all of these and, all the Kickstarters. And if it gets bumped down because we were limited and the developer's like, nope, not doing any more art. You have to use the same art for all, and there's something where we end up can't do something from a legal perspective. And we bump it down, or the music, they decide to not do music. Okay. But right now I'd say that's solid, man. All right. So we'll go series 9, which is going to be part of our future series, for the Switch. And, essentially, this isn't all of it because, as we said, there's a secret game that we're not going to spoil. But all these games have been announced on a premium direct as well. So which one do you want to start with of the 3?
Bot Gaiden, since it came out. I mean, we announced it so long ago.
Bot Gaiden. So Bot Gaiden is like a combination of a Mega Man and Ninja Gaiden style game. What about the graphics?
I love them. I actually like the graphics. It could be polarizing because some people say that it looks like a Flash game, which is, with merit, I guess, but it doesn't play like a Flash game. So
no, and so the gameplay doesn't play like a Flash game.
No, it's super. I mean, it's fun. It's one of those games that's like super fun to go fast.
Yeah.
You can stumble and have to like take the thing methodically, but if you know how to play the level, you can just fly through it.
And it actually says on the Steam page and the Switch page, like the tagline, "Speed kills." Like you have to go fast. They want you to go fast, and you get more combos and you get through stuff better if you.
It's fun, man.
Fly through the game. It is meant to be like
it's satisfying.
Which fun factor replayability? I bump her up.
I do too.
What about music?
It was so long ago that I played the game. I remember it being good, but
It's not memorable to me.
yeah.
It's not memorable to me. Now, artwork, key art, everything. There's so much key art with this game. It's so cool. And I mean, we can show it off here in this tiny screen, but this is what I'm doing
Yeah,
with
that's freaking dope, dude.
the artwork. So I took a Ninja Gaiden aesthetic from a Tecmo NES style box, and I am doing some amazing artwork and stylized for the retro box. This is one of my favorite retro boxes I've designed in recent memory.
It's really good, man.
So cool. So I would say this is an A-tier game.
I agree.
Believe it or not, it's an A-tier game. I think that it is. It truly is.
I know, and it was kind of a polarizing game between like a lot of the team members, but
Yeah.
I was one of those that really enjoyed it and was on board with signing it. So
Well, and I love Mega Man style games. I love Ninja Gaiden style games. I mean, in reality, probably the characters could use a couple more animation cycles, a couple more pieces
yeah,
of
and I
animation.
mean, I compare this to another one that we had a chance at publishing in Berserk Boy.
Yeah.
And Berserk Boy is a better game than Bot Gaiden, but Bot Gaiden's still a really good game. I just think Berserk Boy is an S title, S tier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, Berserk Boy has the music. Like it's where it is.
Yeah,
It has the memorable music. And I would
Yeah.
say the graphics are a tinge above. And it's just a different style too, because they went pixel graphics, whereas this game's not pixel graphics, and that's not a
No.
bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, the one thing I could ask for too is maybe a little more variety in the enemies. In the game.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of bosses. All the bosses are unique and cool. And the boss battles are stressful and fun. But I could absolutely use a little more variety there and a couple more pieces of animation in there, and we would have been.
But then, you think back to like Ninja Gaiden, there wasn't a whole lot of variety whenever it came to enemies there either. So
True story. That's where I'm like, so I don't knock it. Like it's an A title. It's an A title. All right, so let's move over to Carl. So we got Carl, which is also developed by Matt Bittner, who did A Robot Named Fight in conjunction with YouTuber Nintendo. Andrew Kennedy. This one's not a Metroidvania though, but even though it does have gated exploration, is more like you get abilities so you can move further, but it is level by level progression with an overworld. One thing that we have to also add into here is that the game does have extra DLC that will be part of the physical that is going to greatly increase the experience. It makes the whole hub world more livable. Like, so right now the hub world in the original release was kind of there and there's some stuff to do. He's adding flavor to it, so it's gonna actually make it better too. So graphics.
Yeah, great. It's got a very unique graphic style, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's got the pixel style, but also very cartoony at the same time. Very cool. You got your gameplay.
Gameplay is where it shines.
So tight. Such a fun game to play, level by level.
Very well thought out.
Puzzle platformer, because there's certain levels that have gimmicks, like where you replicate your character and have to move two at the same time. Like it's really, really good. Music.
Again, I don't think that's where it shines. I just don't remember that much of it. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Like,
some of the music's cute, but I mean, there could be more.
Okay.
There could be more. So yeah, it may not bump it up. We come to our the next piece though, replayability fun factor. This game is fun as shit.
Yeah, it's super fun.
And I want to replay and go back in levels and get stuff that I've missed. That's what I would continually do. So you can get like little secrets and little collectibles and all that stuff, and 100% love it. And then you got your art, your key art, and your packaging. So right now, the key art, we actually got some pieces with the game. We actually got a piece that was commissioned. The commissioned art Initially looked okay, but I worked with the artist and fixed it. It like had some soulless little tiny eyes, and he didn't realize he did that. And when I talked to him, he's like, "Oh crap!" And so I reworked it with them. And then because there was only one piece of key art that we had to work with, but I went and made a clean version of the slipcase. I actually I like the art that they have for the soundtrack because they got him with like a beatbox thing. And then we're doing a deluxe with this with the strategy guide. And so I feel like the strategy guide artwork turned out pretty cool. Because I mean it has the Nintendo Power style again and everything, and it looks awesome. It's using the old key art, but it's okay. It is cool. And then I designed the deluxe slipcase with a bunch of computer chips behind the commissioned art. And then that commissioned art we're going to use for the steelbook, which it looks really shiny and metallic. Nice. So, and then I went with a crazy fun thing for the Neo Geo slipcase. I used a piece of him looking angry, like muscular with explosions in the background. Yes. So I feel like that bumps it up to the A title because we're going to make sure. And if there's something that we don't like, I know that Nintendo and Matt are going to work with us. 100%. Yeah. We're gonna have an awesome strategy guide with it. We're gonna have an awesome experience. So it will absolutely be at least an A title. And then if we revisit this thing and the damn soundtrack's better than we remember, it might be bumped up to an S. I don't know, man. It's freaking close. We got 2 YouTuber games now with Carl and Pogglings, and both are A tier, potentially S tier games. All right, the final game, and it is a doozy. Curse Crackers, for whom the belly toils. This game is a Game Boy Color style pixel perfect action platformer like Mario and Wario Land and all that stuff.
Shantae.
What do you think about the graphics, man?
Oh, graphics are great, man.
God,
they accomplish exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, the graphics are so good. All right, let me boop it up. What about for the gameplay itself?
I loved it. Everyone on our team that played it said that they loved it, and it's really satisfying to play because
it's addicting.
It's addicting, and you're playing as someone that has a lot of like acrobatic abilities, and it's crazy too because I played through several of the first few levels in the first world or whatever. And I had a lot of fun with it. But then, whenever you go back and you actually watch the trailer, how fast you can traverse, holy crap, you can do that. Holy hell. I wasn't even playing it the same. So you can play it completely differently if you want to.
It kind of goes back to the episode we did on Pizza Tower where you can play through it and sludge through it, or once you get the controls down, and that's exactly where this mastery is. Absolutely gets a point for the gameplay. The music is amazing.
Yeah, music's great.
Oh my god, music is amazing in Cursed Crackers. This developer, it's was it Color Grave? Oh my gosh, they got a talent for the music, they got a talent for the graphics, the gameplay, and that goes into the fun factor and replayability. You can replay levels, and it is fun as hell to play.
It's really good,
so satisfying to play. I mean, I think I know where we're going with this game because
I think so too. Let's just put it straight up there.
And so when we come to the key art, and the thing is, the key art, there's already enough key art to make it an S tier, but they're working on new key art and getting it to us. That is so freaking good.
It is so beautiful. Man, they're good.
It is cool. And the other piece is that then I can use the other key art for other pieces. So your main key art, because the key art that we used on here, I don't even know if we're using that on any of the art pieces at this point.
Yeah, we have a lot to choose from.
That might go on the card because that main one where she's upside down, that's going to be the retro box now because we have such amazing artwork for the slipcase and the retail insert.
Yeah, they're
it. And they want to do a mini strategy guide, Tristan. They want to do a mini guide. So
okay,
I feel like for an S tier, it's worthy.
That's fine. Yeah.
I don't think I unveiled that on you, but they actually did ask.
No,
that,
yeah,
but
no, you did actually. You mentioned it yesterday. You just didn't elaborate.
Yeah, and so they had hit me up because I'm like, hey, what's your bonus time you wanted to do? Because that was like one of the underlying ones we didn't know. And they're like, well, you did mention a guide. And I'm like, this game is good enough.
Yeah.
This game is good enough for a mini guide. Mini guides are the ones, they fit in their art. But
Yeah, no,
dude.
I would have so much fun playing this because,
Oh.
like, to make a mini guide like that, I'm gonna have to play through it thoroughly and like master the game. But I'm glad to do it. It's fun,
dude. And then so that is it. That is all of our all 30 plus releases and announcements that we've done that we're working on. There are still a lot of games that we have signed that we have not announced. And as we hinted at, there's a secret game that we haven't talked about for the next series of Switch games. And we got PlayStation coming, Series 2, as soon as we get the pre-orders made and shipped out for Series 1. We got Series 2 of the PlayStation coming. But
I took a screenshot of this ranking we just did here.
Yes. And let's use this as part of the backdrop, and we got a little spot in the bottom right for text for VGBS for a card. But yeah, like this is 100% fun to do, and we will revisit this in the future when we have more titles to do. Made it for a really long ass episode though. Episode.
That's fun.
But those of you who have stuck with us, we appreciate it. I'm probably gonna do what Tristan has in the background, eat some pizza here after this.
I'm actually gonna fire up the grill. I've got some natural casing hot dogs that are calling my name.
Nice. Yeah, I got not a whole lot of leftovers here, so I'll see what the wife wants to do. It's afternoon now for me here, so I've been doing my intermittent fast, but I'm good. But yeah, so essentially doing a little bit of a recap here. We have one D tier title, which is Music Razor, which is a game that we would have probably not signed in the future, but it is cool in its own mentorship. So that's the only one that's below the tier. We have Pigeon Dev, which is Awesome P1 and 2, specifically Rack and Ruin and Jim and Dale 2 that hit that C tier that are okay games. They're okay. We got our B tier games, which we have Demons Tier Plus, Mighty Fight Federation, Rain in Your Parade, Wonderling DX, Love 3, Wife Quest, Oratorio, Lonesome Village, and Tadpole Trouble Encore as B tier titles, which those are good games. Those are all good games. Some could be argued to be the A from some people.
Exactly. I mean, this is just Jeff and Tristan.
This is Jeff and
Tristan,
right? Then we got Super Blood Hockey, or Body Binder's Tale, They Bleed Pixels, Bobby 6-7, Super Dungeon Maker, Sunshine Anthology, Anuchard, Poglings, Jim and Dale 1, Gordian Quest, Atomic Owl, Kristalla, Bot Guide, and Carl as A tier great games. We have 14 games that we consider great releases on various platforms, which is ridiculous. And then we have our S tier, which are like games that should be part of the zeitgeist of everybody's collection.
Yeah, you need to own these.
We got A Robot Named Fight. We got Cathedral. We got The Amazing Phoenotopia Awakening. We got Raji and Eagle Island Twist, Scarlet Tower, upcoming God Shard Chronicles, and Curse Crackers, which is coming up in the next series. 8 titles that we feel like are freaking stellar games. Like, it is crazy. So that is our tier system, Tristan.
Yeah, we've been trying to do this for a couple months now, and this went over really well.
Yeah, I'm tracking that we can't save the tier list, so when we revisit, I'll just have to rebuild this. So we definitely have to keep the screenshot.
I've got the screenshot.
Yeah, and we're gonna use it for the background card as well. Or should I not use it as the background card?
No, that would be a spoiler. They'd be like, okay, well, we don't have to watch the episode now.
Yeah, it's 3 hours of my life I'll give back. Maybe we'll use premium edition games in the tier list. We'll get fancy with it. But I'll definitely take a screenshot as well. Well, I'd say let's polish up the episode so we can let people get on with their day as they've been listening to this. But we will take you and catch you later. We're going to talk about our bullshit homework game, which is Sea of Stars. We'll talk about that one with the next episode. I want to give myself a little more time because the whole moving shit, I didn't get to play it as much as I wanted to. I at least want to get through the first like major boss after the beginning. I haven't even done that yet. So I want to play more. And so anyways, thanks everybody for listening. Definitely let us know what you think about the tiers. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What games do you disagree with? Let us know. Comment everywhere. We want to hear from you all. Appreciate y'all, and we will catch you next time.
Later, guys.